All right, folks, welcome back. Episode 31 of the Ginger Ball Pod. We got myself, we got Beck, and we got a special co-host today, Ryan Bonaduce on the horn. Ryan, how we
Yes,
doing, bud?
sir. We're doing all right. We're surviving and advancing, unlike the
Wow,
Eagles.
I was gonna say,
Speak on it.
Beck, how we doing, brother?
Good. Glad that we could get the band together to record at 4 a.m. It's
Yeah,
tough with our schedules right now.
yeah.
So
Beck's too busy
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
stripping at night, so we have
yeah.
to, we have to get the late pod.
Hey, yo, come on, cut that out.
Yeah, we got a good pod today, folks. College football up top. We're gonna talk playoff, look ahead to the Natty, and then we're gonna get to NFL. We're gonna get some rants, I'd assume here, and then we might close out with a little Ja Morant getting the fuck out of Memphis.
Yeah, he's a good basketball player.
Yeah, yeah. You don't think that?
Yeah, him and Paul Beck are like battling out for the number 1 and 2 spot. Like, good players for sure. Good culture setters.
Paolo not the worst player in the NBA. But let's start with the playoffs semifinal. We had one good game and one dog shit game. Let's start with the good game. Miami, Mario Cristobal and that defense. Well, they didn't do a great job stopping Trinidad for most of the game, but they got to stop when they needed one. Carson Beck, as weird as he looks, special down the stretch. What do we see in this one, boys?
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, this is just like the worst case scenario for Miami to beat Ole Miss. Like, Ole Miss, the team that works with the narrative, the team that we want to win. They're kind of the team of destiny on the other side of Indiana. Like, that matchup just made sense in my mind. It would have been the picture perfect college football final. Instead, we have to have Miami in the final with Carson Beck, who, I mean, no disrespect, brother, but he's an ugly brother. And also, I mean, it's like the 10th ranked team, so they're an underdog. But in terms of underdogs, they're probably like one of the least, or in terms of underdogs, they would be like an underdog that I could get behind the least, like of all time. I can't remember like another team that was, not expected to make a run, had to go through a bunch of tough games that I'm like, really, I don't have an ounce of fan.
There's nothing.
in me.
There's nothing special about them at
Yeah,
all. There's nothing to root for.
Except Malachi Tony, like he's a special player, but like Carson Beck just takes away all the aura, and I hate to simplify it to that, but it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna root for Indiana. The story trounce them, and I hope Indiana has a cheating scandal. I hope they have film of everybody else's practice. Yeah, like fuck it, I want them to win 60-0. I can't get behind Miami. And usually it feels like that's a team that I would get behind, but Carson Beck takes it all away from me.
Yeah, Ryan, what we see?
I really, really wanted Ole Miss to win. The thing is, I don't think either of these teams have a chance against Indiana, even if Ole Miss did win. But the one thing that Ole Miss has is like Trinidad just had the magic. Like, even he made some horrific throws in that game that should have been picked off. Like, the game honestly could have been not close, but like something about him is just working right now. He's running for his life. He's making every throw and he's doing some dumb things, but he's getting away with it. So I was bummed that they lost. And the only two good games so far of the CFP have both been Ole Miss games. So I was bummed that they lost. And kind of like Beck said, there's just nothing really special about Bama or Miami. They're not like an underdog that like you could never see coming. And I feel like a lot of people honestly thought they could make a run once they got in because like they were pretty damn good this year. But ultimately, I just think Indiana's the best team in the country. And I think, like, is Miami that much better than Oregon? Are they that much better than Alabama? And look at what Indiana did to those teams.
Yeah, I will say, I think the one thing about Miami that's a little bit interesting, I'm with you guys. I think Indiana's just by far and away the best team. But I think the one thing about Miami that poses maybe a little bit of a different threat to Indiana is this defense is special, and they really have the run game going with Mark Fletcher. And that's something that I think in the previous few games that Indiana's played, they haven't had to worry about a rushing attack at all.
Very valid point.
Bama has an atrocious run game.
Yeah, horrible.
And Oregon's run game throughout this year was super inconsistent.
They're atrocious to me too. It's like the worst iteration of an Oregon run game by far. They usually have a guy that you can think about, and he's special. Downright special, but not this year at all for Oregon.
Yeah, so I just think Miami matches up better with Indiana than a team they've played. I think this is going to be we came into this playoff and I think we thought that all of Indiana's games were going to be these low scoring grind them out wins like the Big 10 championship. I think this might have to be that. And I still think they win, but I just think that Ole Miss had they gotten there and we spoke about this last week a little bit, Beck, but those plays, and Ryan, you just alluded to it too. Those plays where Trinidad, makes something special happen and pulls a rabbit out of his hat. You can start to see against a better defense where some of those start to turn into turnovers,
Yeah,
and then it
for
gets
sure.
ugly. And I think that might be how that game would have played out. So, do you think there's any part of like Miami maybe matching up a little bit better with Indiana?
Yeah,
Definitely.
100%.
I think the biggest thing Miami has that some of the other teams they haven't faced have is Miami has legit like edge threats that are like NFL prospects. Like, and the one thing you can't really game plan around is if you have no time.
Yep.
So like if those guys, I mean, the problem is Indiana's O line has been absolutely dominant. Like in that Oregon game, their offensive and defensive line just controlled the entire. Like there was nothing Oregon could do. So that is going to be a good matchup though with Miami edge rushers and Indiana's O line because I do think if Miami is going to stay in the game and win the game, their best chances those guys are just gonna have to like wreak havoc.
Yeah, Ruben Bain, get busy. But I think, like you said, it's going to be a lower scoring game. I still think offense will pick up throughout the game because there's just enough playmakers on each side to make dynamic plays. Like in terms of magic, you saw some magic on that Miami final drive where they go 15 plays. They
Yeah.
had some, one out of every 100 times that would, end up going their way, and that they got those type of bounces. But in terms of Indiana, I think a lot of people have alluded to it since they've just been so dominant throughout this run. It's the difference in the amount of, five or not 5 stars, but the transfers that they have, like these 5-year transfers that they get who become 4 stars, and they just have more of that kind of player than any other team in the country does.
They're
And it's a
legitimately
different,
as
and
old as the Packers. Like
yeah,
they're as old as the Green Bay Packers. It's kind of crazy.
it's a complete difference in philosophy, and it's proven itself to work. And I mean, they're one game away, like one dominant performance away from stapling themselves with the 2019 LSU in terms of dominance of runs. And I think I'm rooting for that more so than a close game, just because, again, it's tough to get behind Miami because this Miami team's not a reincarnation of the U teams where they had a hard hitting defense, even though they still have like the building blocks and some of that foundation. It's not as flashy as those old U teams. So it's tough for a casual fan like myself to really get invested into a Miami team. It's just, I'd rather go with an Indiana team led by Kurt Signetti, who never smiles and probably has some sort of cheating lab.
I thought you were
I'm
gonna
more
say
behind that.
that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
So,
I thought you were gonna say he was gonna have tism or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Still may.
Some things go without
You
saying.
might.
What's understood doesn't need to be said. But please give me an Indiana 45-7 win. I mean, I would so much rather that than Carson Beck with the chance to win. And if he ends up pulling that off, like, I mean, how unexcited I would be, how devastated I would be. Like, it would just suck.
Yeah, I think the other thing is Ole Miss's secondary was so ass in that game. Like
Yeah.
Malachi Tony and what the other guy, Keelan Marion, it felt like every time down the stretch in that game that they needed to pick up 7-8 yards, it's just an easy slant and they have 5 yards of separation.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be the case against Indiana and a Kurt Signetti defense. Like those little and those chunks build up. Like I don't think the Miami offense is capable of the explosive plays that I think they'll need to beat Indiana. At the end of
Yeah,
the
I
day.
totally agree. I think that's where they're going to get in trouble is they're not going to have the easy like check downs. Like there's going to be pressure on Beck the whole game. And like my trust in him is like so low, even though I will admit like he has looked in control. Like
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to be able to make the plays that the Indiana defense is going to ask of him.
But let's get to that Indiana game because I think there's something that we can pull from this game and look ahead. I think the one thing is these wide receivers for Indiana. I think we've talked about them a decent amount on the pod, but I still don't think they're getting enough credit. And Cooper and even what's his face,
Big
Charlie
bro
Becker.
Beck.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a third down merchant, man. He is old reliable. But I told you, like, based off that first matchup that they played Oregon, that was the thing that stood out. Like, they dogged, especially Surratt. Surratt dogged the whole
Yeah.
Oregon secondary and it continued in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think I don't know if I knew that Indiana had this level of playmaker at their disposal. Like I kind of thought
Yeah.
it was, a defensive led team. Mendoza obviously was special throughout the year, and I knew Surratt was like, a great contested catch guy and a great possession receiver. But I mean, the emergence of Becker and Cooper and even the running backs look great with Hemby and Black going at the same time. Like this is a very, very complete team on both sides of the ball. And it's just really the efficiency that blows me away. Like it feels like Mendoza the last couple games has like a total of 5 incompletions. Like
No, I mean, there's a stat that like the
He
teams
does.
that
He
play
has
that-
5
yeah.
incompletions.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
insane.
He has
what he's
literally
doing.
5 incompletions, 8 touchdowns to 5 incompletions for Mendoza.
Like that. Like you don't lose games if that's
Yeah,
the case.
it's
Like,
not possible.
so I think right now for Indiana, they're just sort of hitting a stride where their talent is reaching its height and their game script is perfect. And it's just all coming together at the right time. And I don't know. Is there any chance? I know we talked about Miami potentially, with that defense in the run game. Is there any chance that this doesn't end up with Kurt Signetti hoisting the national championship
I
trophy?
wouldn't say there's a 0% chance, but I mean, I don't know what the betting line is now. I know it opened at 7.5, and I literally took it the second that it opened because I figured it was going to go higher. But like, you're talking like an 8-point spread in a national chip game. Like that's not normal.
Yeah.
That just kind of shows you how good this Indiana team is. I'd be shocked if they lost, but I won't say it's not possible.
Yeah, my thing is the stat to watch is going to be the number of pass attempts for Fernando Mendoza. So here's the thing. If he's gone over 30 pass attempts in a game, the game becomes extremely more tight for Indiana. So that's going to point to the Old Dominion game week 1. It's going to point to the Penn State game, and it's going to point to that first Oregon game. Those are the 3 times this year he's gone over 30 passing attempts. It's been 30, 31, and 31. And those games were decided by 3 points, 10 points, and 13 points. Those are Indiana's closest games besides the Ohio State Big Ten championship. So I think if you can take Indiana out of the balance that they like to have in terms of run and pass, and you can, try to make Mendoza beat you, and that may be the formula to make this, a Miami game. But I'm going Indiana, and I will take them by multiple scores. I do think it's close for, the first half, and then Indiana figures it out.
That's sort of where I'm leaning with this. I think in the first half, I think Miami will be able to keep this low scoring, and they'll try to make this the type of game that suits them, which is, they would have to control time of possession. They'll have to get going on the ground and just kind of pray that it's low scoring enough that Carson Beck can pull something out of his ass at the end and win a low scoring game. But I just don't think over the course of an entire game, Miami can, because all it takes is 2 drives for Indiana in that second half, and this game's out of hand. Like I just don't see a world where Miami's able to keep up. And I know Carson Beck's been a great game manager and hasn't really made a ton of mistakes. I know he had the pick, but I just think at some point you're going to see the version of Carson Beck that we've seen throughout his college career in big games.
Yeah, I just checked the betting line. It opened at 7.5, like I said, and it's already at 8.5.
It's crazy.
So like we could be looking at a 9.5-point spread by the time
by Monday. Yeah, I bet it will be.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, I have Indiana, and 8.5's a lot, but
I took them the second the line opened.
yeah.
I mean,
because 10's like that would be 10's not even. That's like a close game. For Indiana.
Yeah, for Indiana, yeah, totally.
So, I would be shocked if it doesn't go to 9.5 before Monday.
I would be too, but granted, I think Miami is such a significantly superior team to Oregon. Like Oregon was the most cake matchup you could have got in the
terrible
semifinal.
matchup for Oregon there. I also thought Bama was like the worst possible matchup for Indiana. But also, I just wanted, before we move on to the NFL and some of the wild card stuff, there were a couple big portal additions this week. Sam Levitt from Arizona State goes to LSU. Lane Kiffin was recruiting him basically for weeks now. And Dylan Raiola, the Pat Mahomes wannabe, Going to Oregon. Are either of these interesting to you? And which quarterback is going to be bigger for their new team?
No, I mean Rayola at the Oregon stands out
Yeah, I think
completely to me.
Rail is better.
No, I don't think Levitt's good.
Yeah,
I was
After
gonna
what he
say
showed.
that was your Heisman pick, by the way, Beck.
Yeah, I mean, after what I watched a good amount in the beginning of the season, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah,
Especially the
I'm
game against
impressed.
Mississippi State. Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a team that was out of sorts. It was really disappointing because I love Kenny Dillingham as a coach, but the way they took a step back this year, and I feel like a wide open Big 12, like I thought he was going to develop himself as, not in Indiana, but like a mini powerhouse in the Big 12. That did not happen this year at all. And it seems like the Big 12, there's always, it's open season every year. It's going to be a new team every season. But
Yeah, I'm with you on. I don't think he's all that good. I will say though, if there is like, their team was definitely way worse this year than it was 2 years ago. So like maybe it's just a case of like the team was bad, he was forcing it, and like if there's anywhere he could pick it back up, you would imagine that it's with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Iola is Moore hasn't declared yet. And like, obviously the stuff he's put on tape hasn't been great.
Yeah.
And I saw that if he doesn't declare, then Rayola is like going to sit, which is shocking to me.
I think I think Dante would transfer, honestly.
I saw that he would sit behind Moore, which I think is crazy.
Rayola
But that
would?
could also be bullshit. Yeah.
Never
I don't
happening.
see that.
Yeah, you'll see a class action lawsuit before.
I was shocked. I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah. I also don't really see Dante coming back. His
I
stock.
don't either.
We talked about this on the last pod. His stock couldn't have dropped faster than it did. But
And
even
he's still
saying
gonna
that,
be
this quarterback
he-
class
he-
is so bad, man.
And he still has fanboys. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. If you have fanboys as a quarterback coming into the draft, like anything is possible, dude.
Yeah.
It's all tools for draft analysts. So like
Right.
they don't give a shit if you throw 3 picks and just look like a high school quarterback in a playoff game.
Yeah, and if you can, make the analogy that it's a pro style offense, like if you can,
Because Dylan Gabriel in that same offense was better.
Like, it's unbelievable.
Look at him.
The way people just pick and choose what they want to call a pro style offense. Like, sure, dude.
Also, we got dunked on for saying that Dylan Gabriel would be terrible, and people were so mad.
Let's not sell.
Ryan, I'm not kidding, dude.
Yeah.
It might be the most commented
Hunter, let's not celebrate our wins right now. We got a lot of wins.
We have to for now, bro, because we're about to get.
We don't need the demand respect. Let's let it sizzle for a little.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that. But yeah, I think Rayola's the big news. First of all, just because I knew he was in the portal, but I think I was still kind of holding out hope that he'd just return. I don't know. The Oregon move makes sense. Obviously,
you were holding out hope that Dante Moore would return.
No, Rayola.
No, that Rayola would stay in Nebraska. But I think Levitt is probably. I think he peaked a little too early, and I think he had Scadaboo, who I think people forget Scadaboo was like one of the best receiving
really
running backs
good.
in recent college football history. So when you have that as a check down and he just can't get tackled, your numbers start to look a lot better.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, Lane Kiffin, this is definitely all he was thinking about. That's my new Jackson Dart.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He looks 100%. Like him. He's got the tools like that. That's what Lane Kiffin's looking for.
Similar stilo.
Yeah, looking for moxie. Like that's all that brother cares about. Let's be serious.
He's also corked up white boy.
Yep.
With a black scent. Yeah, but a couple of interesting portal ads. I think there'll be more and maybe some more coaching stuff because there's openings out there still. But let's move to the NFL. Tough weekend for the boys. Wild card weekend for many reasons. We had our teams get knocked out. We had Beck and I getting dunked on not once, not twice, but 3 times on TikTok. We posted 3 clips of previews, and it was Chargers. We had Chargers winning. We had
Jags. I'll sit solo there. That was all me.
We had Jags blowout. Jags blowout. And there was a third one. Oh, Packers. We both had Packers over Bears. So
I was on the other side for all 3 of those.
Let's go, Ryan.
Fucking go.
Yeah, it's easy when the camera's not in front of you. You got to read off a teleprompter.
Read off a teleprompter.
Do you really think those were my takes?
No. We had somebody pumping them in.
Yeah.
No, but
Blame the
let's.
network. Thanks, Disney.
Yeah, yeah. Disney's paying us. But let's start. Let's just get mine out of the way first. Packers with just, I mean, a horror movie collapse against the Bears. Go up 21-3. I'm getting so loud in all my group chats. Just going through, when you're like your team's doing well, you're just going through Twitter and just eating it up. Like you're just loving it,
Yep.
looking at all the highlights and everything.
Just pressing like on every tweet.
Just jamming the like the old women in the fucking
Slots.
casino. Yeah. But then and I don't know what it was, but when they froze McManus at the end of the first half and he drilled the like 55-yarder, but Ben Johnson called timeout and then he misses it left. Yeah. First of all, I almost like just walked in to get a drink because I knew he was gonna miss. And he misses that, and there was just like a little like shiver ran down my spine because it was just bad vibes from there on out. Come out in the second half, offense gets the ball first, completely flat, stalls, and slowly Caleb just starts bringing the Bears back. I will say, credit to Caleb, he made a couple throws in this game that were sensational. Like that fourth down throw, I think it was
fourth and 8.
What was it?
Fourth and 8.
Yeah, fourth and 8. Season on the line, rolls out to his left, across his body, just puts it where only Rome could catch it. Really, really special performance from him down the stretch. He shouldn't have had a chance to bring them back if the offense wasn't that dog shit and Matt LaFleur just wasn't such a pussy down the stretch. But yeah, that's a loss you just can't have. What'd you guys see in that game, and what do you think about the Bears going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, first point is just I know like we're giving a lot of shit to McManus, but overall, I'd said this to you, the Packers' inability to get the kicker spot right since Crosby retired in 2022 is incredible to me. Like, I'm going to read you off the names that they've had since then, the last 3 seasons.
Do we have to do this?
Anders Carlson, Braden Narverson, Brandon McManus, and Lucas Haversick.
Haversick special, though.
All these brothers suck. Like, come on, dog. And
dude, Narveson was actually an NPC. That is the worst kicker I've ever seen.
So is Anders, bro. Anders cost you the game against San Francisco.
We drafted him in like the 5th round too.
Yeah, like that. Just beyond that, like it can't be that hard to get the kicker spot. Like you have to figure it out in 3 years. The inability, the ineptitude. That's sad. And honestly, that's what blew the game. If you have the field goal or the extra point, definitely the field goal. Like
7
if
points?
you're down 31-30 instead of 31-27, like that's the game right there. Because you guys were moving the ball at ease when you didn't, tuck your tail. And that's the kind of the story with Matt LaFleur, though. But I thought the Packers offense looked like they could do whatever they want when they ran, real offense. And I don't mind that last possession before the Bears go ahead and get that go-ahead score. I know there's a lot of talk about the play calling with LaFleur, like with
the 2 shots.
Yeah. I don't mind. I think that's anti everything he's been. I'm glad he didn't sit on his hands there. The only thing unacceptable about that sequence to me is the delay of game. But yeah, I'm glad that he went for it. Like and I thought Love played a terrific game. Also on that last drive, I thought that, that shot between 3 defenders, he nailed it. Christian Watson, you got to lay your body on the line there. Like that's the TO catch across the middle, get nailed by 3 guys. Like that was a perfect throw. And you really don't see that kind of throw in, the NFL nowadays. So I wish Watson made a play for his guy. Thought Dobbs was old reliable for the Packers. On the Bears side, Caleb Williams, like this is the reason I picked against the Bears. It's just because I can't believe in a quarterback that's sub 60% completion percentage. For as much as we talk about Ben Johnson, offensive genius, this and that, like Caleb Williams, still his inability to make the easy play, like it was on full display for 3 quarters this game. And I think ultimately what was able to get the Bears to, help them get the job done was just they kind of have a stranglehold now over the Packers. Like they turned from little bro to big bro in the blink of an eye. And that last game in the regular season where they got the onside kick and everything, like that changed the narrative. I'm sorry. And I thought that the narrative.
I don't know if I'm ready to go there. Easy.
But I was forever
they
wrong.
win 2 games.
Hey, listen. Standing on it, the handshake, like that shit is stamped. Like the narrative officially flipped.
Oh my God, bro.
And the Packers saying LaFleur is coming back, like be ready to be beta for a couple years going now. You got to fix something.
Wow.
Let's go, Beck.
This game was
Hey,
insane. It was one of those games where I picked the Bears to win. I bet a money line before the game, and I doubled down on them during the game. I bet them plus 500 during
wow.
the game, nearly
Sharp.
tripled down and took them plus 900, but I pussied out of that. But I was watching it, like obviously I'm rooting for the Bears to win, and I'm thinking like in the second half, like how are the Bears not winning? The Packers did so many stupid things to basically try to give the Bears the game earlier, and the Bears were like, "No, it's okay, you can have it."
Yeah.
The Packers threw a screen pass to a tackle.
Bro.
He kicks the ball forward, and a Bears guy just headbutts it out of bounds. Like it was ridiculous. If I was a fan of the Packers, I would say, "How do we not win?" And if I was a fan of the Bears, I'd be saying, like, "How are we not winning in the fourth quarter?" Like,
Yeah.
both teams were selling. Like Beck alluded to, Caleb was horrible in the first half. Like, aside from the first drive, he was legitimately bad the entire first
Yeah,
half.
the first interception on the where he thought Burden was going to run the post, that threw him off. Like you could tell that shook him, and he was off of it from the rest of that. Also, Ben Johnson just going for it on every fourth down, like too cute.
Yeah.
Ben
On his own 35. Yeah.
that will come back to bite him, and I think against the Rams with the coach like McVay, that's going to be
The play
guess
action
I'm-
pass on 4th and 1 at like the 5, I think they were at.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. They were running the ball down their throat the whole time. Like,
Yep.
that was infuriating. as a
which
Bears
makes
better.
it just so much more. You can't lose this game if you're LaFleur because Ben
Totally.
Johnson literally pissed down his leg for half the game and said, "Yeah, we're putting all our eggs in one basket right here." And the Packers got stop after stop after stop, and during the second half they couldn't take advantage of one time because
And
again,
it wasn't even the whole second. It was 21-3 at half. And for a lot of the third quarter, the Bears were still shooting.
Yeah, it was
themselves in the
21-6
foot.
for most of the
Like,
third, too.
Yeah, like they really didn't start getting.
I mean, it's
going
21-6 in the fourth quarter. Packers ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
27-16 with
yeah.
4 minutes left.
Yeah, it wasn't like just like, oh, the Bears turned it on the second half. No, they were still bad and made so many mistakes. Like the Packers fumbled the ball in the end zone and the guys just stare at it while roaming. Like they made so many dumb mistakes, but they got lucky. And as far as going forward, like I think the Bears can beat anyone, but like they can't beat themselves. Like if Ben Johnson coaches a good game for 4 quarters, there's not a team that I'm like, oh, they have no shot.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't trust them though.
Yeah.
There's no team that gets away with this the whole season. There's just there's not.
it's gotta
There's
end.
not a precedent for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
gotta
say
end
the
somewhere.
one thing about the Packers, and obviously the talking point for the few days after the game has been LaFleur and what
Yeah.
you do. Do you bring him back? Do you not? So his contract is up for an extension, and apparently they're negotiating terms right now. And obviously Shefty said that in all likelihood LaFleur is coming back. And to be honest, as a Packers fan, my gut reaction when the game ends is he has to go. Like it's the equivalent of for you guys if this happened against the Cowboys. Like it can't happen, especially because we've had collapses in the playoffs with him before. But then you start to look around the league, and maybe now as all these openings are starting to pop up, maybe the tune has changed a little bit. But do you want John Harbaugh? Do you want like even Stefanski? Like I don't know. Do you want Kevin Stefanski? Like I look around and I'm like, it's probably best just to keep him. Like I don't think the options around the league were worth like fucking up. You could potentially fuck up like the locker room if you make a move like that. Admit
those names aren't the options. These old fucks that are past their prime. Like we're cool on that. Like let's get a name in the building that is unknown. The passing coordinator of a team that is under the radar, but has
love what's his name, Steele.
No, but seriously, let's look
that.
at some graphs. Let's look at some teams that have had good offensive EPA, and let's go find their passing game coordinator.
Okay, but
like
my argument
who
against that
had the-
is you're
who had-
looking
yeah.
for LaFleur.
The Packers have like
You're saying
the
let's
number
go
two
find a
passing
LaFleur.
offense.
I'm saying interview them and find the one that's more McVay than LaFleur. Like LaFleur he's more Shanahan than McVay's like psycho, and Shanahan and LaFleur are kind of like these
I think
passive
that's a good
guys who've
point.
had moments in the it's always come back to bite them where their own conservatism and cautiousness in games where they're ahead has come back to bite them in the biggest moments.
You know what I
Find
think?
a psycho like McVay.
Yeah.
I know there's not many of them out there, but these are the guys that you got to be interviewing to see if
who
you
one
find any of those
is?
traits in them.
You know who one is on the other side of the ball? I actually think who
Kevin
is
Patul.
a Mike, yeah, Kevin Patullo. You know who I think is a Mike McDonald clone? Jeff Halfley.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I think this would fix all the Packers' problems. If you made Jeff Halfley the head coach and Matt LaFleur the offensive coordinator, I think that fixes everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, you could never do that.
It's underrated how many teams, like, I feel like in the past 5 years have kind of run into that issue where there's a more talented guy who's in a lesser role.
Yeah.
And the teams have managed it poorly. Like the Bucks are the best example with keeping Todd Bowles and letting Liam Cohen leave the building. Because I feel like Cohen is kind of in the mold of a McVay, even with the loss to the Bills, where he's got more of like the edge to him than a guy like LaFleur or Shanahan. Maybe that's crowning him too early, but I don't care. That's how I personally
love Cohen.
feel.
Yeah,
it's
I love
a
Cohen.
super interesting discussion because I mean I was gonna ask the question to you because like as a neutral observer, if I were a Packers fan, I would want LaFleur back. I wouldn't want to fire him. But like I'm sure Packers fans have a more experience with him and know his mistakes the same way that I probably feel. Like I'm sure people look at Nick and like, what do you mean you just won the Super Bowl? And I'm like, don't you know that this guy's a dumbass? Like, so it's interesting because I would want him back as a Packer fan just because kind of like I said, I feel like any coach you're looking for, you're trying to find another LaFleur kind of like young offensive mind. That's the guys you want as your head coach. But it's interesting. I can definitely see the argument for wanting to cut the line.
So for me, it comes down to temperament. Like that's the number one thing in these offensive masterminds. You got to have an edge too. And I feel like that's the difference between the great ones and the good ones.
Yeah.
And it's not even just offensive masterminds. It's these other coaches around the league, like John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott. The list goes on and on. Like these are figureheads and they're guys there to kind of keep the pulse of the locker room steady and even keel. Yeah. And it's just like, I feel like the Packers made the same mistake with McCarthy, letting him stay around too long. And then you go have 2 to 3 years of mediocre play and you finally have to cut the cord. Like I'd rather go for, like, not let LaFleur be the standard and shoot for the stars.
I just don't know how many stars.
My only pushback on that is like you see these guys that are clearly good coaches. Like I don't think anyone would argue that at worst LaFleur's like a great offensive coach, like at absolute minimum. Like look at Andy Reid. He couldn't figure out how to manage a clock for 15 years as the Eagles coach. And he had so many close calls in the playoffs and he'd been to a Super Bowl. He obviously had more success than LaFleur, but like it took him forever to figure out just like how to manage a game. Obviously an offensive genius, but I think LaFleur has like similar issues where it just comes to overall game management and finishing games.
But at the end of the day, like what led him to that is a change of scenery. Like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's experience, but it's also like getting canned. Like those guys might need to experience that.
What's funny about that is looking back when the Eagles fired Reid, it was the right decision to fire Andy Reid. Like with all the shit he did, he'd been there for 15 years and couldn't get the job done. Like you can't wait around forever. So I get both
but
sides.
It got to it. Yeah. They waited long too. I mean, it got to a point where they were 4-12 in this last season.
Yeah.
Coming off that dream team year 8-8. Like
let me also, so this is sicko, but after the conclusion of that Packers Bears game, I was at my girlfriend's apartment and she was in bed. So I had to do what I had to do. I went to the bathroom.
You jerked
off? Got in my notes app.
I was going to say you rubbed one out.
And I rubbed one out. No, I went in my notes app. This is insane work by me. And I just listed every mistake Matt LaFleur made in that game. First of all, doesn't get lined up and has to use a timeout with 2:07 left in the fourth quarter. Then we can't use a timeout. And we eventually, obviously, Sean Ryan also. I wanted to make this rant. Beck, you already know what I'm going to say. Sean Ryan, with 32 seconds left, our center, goes down with what we find out was a bone bruise and can't get up.
Oh,
he is
I didn't realize that.
Beholden to the turf.
Yeah.
Can't possibly jog to the sideline. Meanwhile, Tyrell Shavers in Buffalo played a half on a torn ACL. But because his fat ass can't get off the turf, we have a 10-second runoff with 32 seconds left in the game. We have no timeouts. So 22 seconds, and the clock runs when we get back to the line.
That was the game.
That was the game.
Over.
Yeah.
insane. But
Yeah,
we're
get your
only,
ass up, man.
yeah, which insane. But we're only in that position because Matt LaFleur can't get his defense lined up with 7 seconds before the 2-minute warning and has to use a timeout. That's the first mistake. Well, I mean, there's many others, but we can't do them all. The second, not cutting Brandon McManus. The third, going away from Keyshawn Nixon as kick returner randomly and going to Josh Jacobs. And Josh
That was
Jacobs.
insane. I forgot about that.
What are we
Holy,
doing, man?
that was
It's the
so
last game of the
dumb.
season. We're just gonna try shit.
Another thing missed up. The Bears forced another fumble.
Yeah.
Don't recover it. Like,
Oh yeah, we fumbled like 4 times. They didn't get one. Next one. Well, not giving Matthew Golden the ball before this game, insane. Not firing Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coordinator, and not designing any run plays outside of a draw out of the shotgun. So, I mean, he drives me nuts, but at the end of the day, as sad as it is, I still think that the coaches that are out there right now, I think he gives us the best chance, especially with Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft coming back. We also had Zach Tom, our starting right tackle, out. He's an all-pro tackle, and Elton Jenkins, an all-pro guard, out. You'd hope just getting those guys back and maybe having a decent draft, and maybe you're right back there. But fuck, man, this one's going to hurt for a while.
Yeah.
yeah, that was a tough one.
Let's get the fuck away from this game.
I'm last thing. In terms of Packers playoff losses, like in the past 20 years, like where does this rank for you?
Like 12? Like, dude, that's the thing is it's
No, fuck no. No, it doesn't.
Bro, go through them. Go through them.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some bad ones, but this one's up there
Bro,
for sure.
the Brandon Bostic onside kick.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
The block punt against the 49ers at home.
The Brett Favre pick against the Eagles.
Tampa Bay NFC Championship. Scotty Miller Hail Mary on the left side to end the first half. And then LaFleur, by the way, everybody forgets this. Matt LaFleur down 8 with 4 minutes left. You have Aaron Rodgers, and you're going against Tom Brady. He kicks a field goal, and we don't see the ball again. Thanks, asshole.
Yeah, and you want him back. That's what I'm saying. No dog.
I still do. Fuck me, I guess. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's probably like 3 or 4 like that, but it's the Bears, so it makes it miserable. Let's go to Jags Bills first before we get into the Birds. This is the one that we really got dunked on TikTok. Beck said, and I quote, "The Jags are gonna boat race them," and I think the score he said was 40-14.
Yep.
We got.
Yeah, I can confirm he's said the same score to me.
And we got so many bookmarks on it. I think it's like one of the most viewed TikToks we've ever had. And to be fair, the Jags were very good. And honestly, I thought
it was a great game.
Yeah, had every chance to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
If Trevor Lawrence on that 4th down, if his knee doesn't go down, that we're talking about a completely different outcome here. And maybe that score ends up happening, honestly.
Yeah, that's what turned the game.
But at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence made a mistake and Josh Allen didn't. And here we are. So what we see in this one, boys?
Yeah, on the last point you said, I had the Bills winning this game. I thought it would be really close. I felt like for me this was the hardest game to pick, but I just ultimately took the Bills just because of Josh Allen. And I was pretty impressed with Allen because I mean I know we all talk like superhero, like he's gonna win the game by himself. I felt like this was one of the most like in control games he's played in a while, where like he didn't do anything spectacular, but like he just made the right reads, made the right throws, and kind of controlled the game to the point where they just needed to score at the end and get a stop, and that was that. So I was pretty impressed with the way Josh kind of controlled that game.
Yeah, especially the toll that the Jags put on his body early, like
like 3 injuries.
That was trending towards getting ugly. And again, the fumble by Ray Davis on the kickoff, not getting any points out of that after you score a touchdown. Like, you got to go up 14-3 there. That's where the game was decided, because the Jags could have put their foot on the neck there. In terms of what, like, I didn't think the Jags did well enough in this game. They didn't commit to the run enough. I think that's first playoff game from Liam Cohen, just the inexperience. I thought he put the ball in Trevor's hands too much, given that you're getting like 8 yards a pop and it's easy.
Yeah, I thought Tootin looked incredible.
Yeah. They both did. They both looked explosive. So that's what I didn't like from the Jaguars. And Trevor didn't play a great game in this one. I don't think it was terrible by any means. But again, that's like the Trevor Lawrence that you didn't want to see, and it hasn't really popped up in the last 9 weeks with this Jags winning streak. But you got a good case of it this game. So I underrated the Bills in terms of their passing defense because I mean they're number one against the pass, but they're worse against the run. I think you just got to lean on the splits there more. Now on the flip side, the Bills receiving group, like the patchwork that they put together, like I did not think they were going to be able to get any separation, but a group of like Brandon, Shakir really made a statement, but like these other guys, like Cooks had his moments.
Cooks has been great.
Yeah, dude. They needed a field stretcher too. Yeah.
Like, so if he's gonna like solidify this group, I think I have a lot more confidence in the Bills going forward than I did. But I thought Shavers had his moments, and even Keon Coleman got a whole shot in cover two where he got open and made a couple guys miss. So yeah, I was kind of surprised that the Bills were able to have that much success on offense, even though it's not like the Vags are a vaunted pass defense. It's just with some of the games that the Bills have put on tape for 4 quarters where like the receiving group looks inept. It was surprising to see an environment like this where it felt like the Jags could have just rode momentum that the Bills were able to, withstand that. And ultimately, like when it was close in the fourth, you kind of had a feeling that the Bills were going to be the ones to answer last. So great win for them. I think the Jags are going to be the top competition that they face in the AFC, in my opinion. So, sky's the limit now. Like the Bills have a good path to make it to the Super Bowl, especially with the matchup with the Broncos coming up, where I feel like that is food for them. But we'll see. Like the Broncos still have a vaunted defensive line. I don't trust their offense at all.
Yeah, I do think the defenses that the Bills are going to have to go through in these next 2 rounds are going to be special because you're going to have the Denver defense, and then I think potentially the Houston defense, or even if it's the New England defense, it's going to be tough. So on that side, it's going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, such a gutsy performance from Josh Allen. He had like 3 different injuries in the first half. But I do just want to bring up these texts that Beck sent me about 30 minutes into the game.
I was like feeling it. I was feeling it.
Beck, back-to-back text. Beck goes, "The Bills can't fuck with the Jags. I'm sorry." And then he goes, it's 5 minutes later. Yup, here comes the onslaught. That was right before the Josh Allen 4th down.
Yeah, that's when you put the phone on DND.
Yeah, and then it got really sad. But yeah, I mean, I'm pissed that this game was this early in the playoffs because it really did have like an AFC Championship feel to it.
It was a shit draw for the Jags to have to play Josh Allen in the first round.
Which all comes from the Pats having an easy-ass schedule. Like, that's literally just fucked the AFC playoffs. But Parker Washington's special. I'm
excited to watch. I wanted to say, he might be a superstar, dude.
Yeah.
He reminds me so much of JSN.
I have something to say about the Jags. Travis Hunter should play cornerback full-time. There's no world in where you can put him at receiver over Parker Washington. Like, that's asinine to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But how are you to bench him?
What's Jacoby's situation? Has Jacoby like got contract control, or
didn't he just sign a big extension?
They extended him.
Okay.
Yeah, for 3 years.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So
also,
like BTJ first round pick, and I know BTJ had a down year, but like he can't play cornerback, so he's going to play receiver. You just extended Jacoby, and you can't bench Parker Washington. So like.
And Brenton Strange is like a weapon you got to give at least 5 targets.
Like I just don't see where Hunter fits into that. And like I thought he was a better corner anyway coming into the draft.
Yeah, he definitely was.
No, yeah, I mean I didn't like the trade for him at first anyway. Like I just don't think you can do he's a corner but also kind of a receiver. I think you have to pick one.
Yeah, I mean go ahead. So real quick, in terms of personnel, I think that's like their only move. I do think I liked what he showed at Colorado at receiver. I just felt like he was really shifty, and he had a lot of tendencies to Jefferson in terms of just like.
No, I agree with that. I think he's a sick receiver, but they just kind of shoehorn themselves. Yeah. Like
I would want to see him get a chance down the line. Totally.
The only way is like if you trade BTJ and like. Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine with that. The stuff he put on tape this year was disgusting work from him.
Yeah. It sucks because Travi had his best game of the season, like before he was shut down. Yeah. He had like he had like 100 yards. I still think he can be a special receiver, but yeah, with the emergence of Parker, like it is turning into too many cooks in the kitchen. And
And
you're
like,
gonna have to get somebody out of there.
and I don't like hate the Jacoby signing, but like, why are you paying him $20 million a year if your plan is to have Travis Hunter play receiver? Like, I think that might be one. Like, he's a good player, but like, he's not like a difference maker by any means. Like, if you're gonna have Hunter to play receiver, I don't really get the logic
Yeah,
behind
and
signing him.
Jacoby had some moments in this game where he
Yeah,
had some.
he's good. He's good.
No, I'm
Also,
saying
his
like
blocking's big.
yeah, but he had some balls he should have caught in this game. Like there's a
Totally. That's
third
what
and
I'm
seven
saying.
opening drive, like that's got to be caught. Like that one
Yeah.
stood out to me, and there was
That's
another
yeah.
one.
He's
So
not like a difference maker to me.
yeah,
Like, he's a normal wide receiver
yeah,
too.
he's more of like an intangible, like shit you can't really like you quantify, but he did have a huge impact on them, and like
Definitely.
the
Yeah, he was
numbers.
super useful.
The numbers pre and post trade, like I'll put some weight into that, but I agree. Like in terms of production wise, like he's not a special receiver, and by any means.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll be excited to see the Jags next year, but for the
Definitely.
Bills, huge win, and we'll see where they go going forward. Let's go to the Eagles, man. The Eagles Niners. Ryan, I know we want to let you ISO on this one. The Eagles lose 23-19. What do we got here, man?
Yeah, so I'm gonna preface my thoughts with a couple of things because I got a lot to say. First, I see all the time like all Eagles fans are so spoiled, like they win a Super Bowl and want to fire their coach. Like, sorry, I demand greatness. Like, I want to win Super Bowls, not one. I want to be a dynasty, and you're lying to yourself. If you looked at the landscape of the NFL this year, especially as the year played out, the Eagles are the best roster on paper, and it's really not that close. There's no excuse for them going out in the divisional round with the team they have. There just isn't. So it's ridiculous to me to see people saying like Eagles fans are so spoiled, like they shouldn't be upset. Like, nah, get the fuck out of here. Like, you're a poverty team. You've never won. I understand, but we win. So I want to win more. The next thing, I'm really not like upset or like depressed at the season ending the way I have been in the past. I was honestly over this game like 30 minutes after it ended because it just wasn't surprising. I felt vindicated. All the things I've been saying all year were true. I felt the same way in 23 when they collapsed. I was ringing the alarm bell that whole year about how bad the offense was, and you saw how that ended up. So I just wasn't surprised. And I was honestly kind of glad that it ended this poorly because let's say they squeak by, make it to like the NFC Championship game and lose. Like, is Patullo fired? I don't know. So like, I'm glad that they made it clear that there were so many issues that change was unavoidable, that they had to make these change. And the thing is, like, I've obviously been to Beck knows, like, I've talked a lot of shit about Sirianni, and like, do I think he's a horrible coach? No, but do I question what he adds? Yeah, and I still don't think there's an answer because he's brought in as a former OC who's supposed to be an offensive guy. His offenses have consistently shit the bed and not been as good as they're supposed to be. And I think people forget that last year the offense was horrendous until our O line literally had to publicly say we need to run the football. And they were able to get by because of how good the O line was and how good Saquon was. The passing offense was 29th in the NFL. They couldn't pass. And if you look at what Kellen Moore is doing in New Orleans, the offense looks completely different because when guys come here, they run what Sirianni wants them to run. And it's just clear that it doesn't work. But it's not just on Sirianni and Patullo, obviously. I mean, Patullo deserved to get fired. Like, anyone that says they're scapegoating him, give me a break, man.
Yeah.
Like, it was elementary school
Adding
bullshit.
the
You've seen
offense,
all
yeah.
the takes. Like, they ran four verts like 7 or 8 different times. Like, his offense was a complete joke. They ran the most hitches in NFL history. Like, it was literally comical seeing the stats about like the number of routes they run. It's just hilariously bad. You were talking about LaFleur and how they're late getting to the ball. No one was as late as getting to the ball as the Eagles were all season. That was a consistent thing. But I come away from it like, I mean, I wanted Sirianni fired in 2023 after they collapsed. Obviously, they win the Super Bowl. I know they're not going to fire him. I know that's not going to happen. Would I be mad if they did fire him? Absolutely not. I think I think we wasted a year of a potential dynasty this year. Like when you look at the landscape of the league, like I said, like we have the best team. There's no way they should be going out in the divisional round, especially to a team that was decimated by injuries. Like the Niners were so injured. You just saw what the Seahawks did to them. They scored 3 points. I was disappointed in the defense, even though it's not on the defense at all. But the pass rush was non-existent. They could not get to Purdy. They turned the ball over though, and that's on the offense. They need to be better. There's a ton you can talk about with the Eagles, like Hurts. I think Hurts needs to be better. He's not blameless, although I think he was playing with like a hand tied behind his back the whole season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with AJ. I know that the fan base is like super upset and everyone's just saying trade him, but I think that's reactionary, especially because of the cap situation. Like we have a ton of free agents, a lot of guys that need to be re-signed, and AJ's cap hit is huge if you trade him. So like I don't know if that's easier said than done, but maybe the situation with Sirianni is so bad that he can't come back. So there's a lot to be said about the Eagles right now, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Beck?
Yeah, I think the difference between now and 2020, like Ryan hit everything on the nail, but the difference between now and 2023 is you have way more mystery about core pieces coming back. Like you're probably gonna.
For sure.
I can't foresee AJ coming back. It's just too much like passive aggressive energy that like it will ramp up, and training camp will be like a nightmare if they kind of let this thing ride out, which they probably will, and they'll let it boil over. But I think he gets traded. That's just personally how I feel. And then Goddard, you're not really sure if he's going to be back. Yeah. And it's crazy how they're
You got to extend Phillips too.
Yeah, their misuse of assets this year turned Dallas Goddard into like the number one guy because they I mean, that's the biggest indictment on this team ever. You got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts in the run game, and you turn Dallas Goddard into like what you're going to go to in your staple in like your big game moments, your gotta have it moments. That's asinine. As good as Goddard is, as like reliable as he is, it can't be your number one option in every go-to situation. It's just beyond belief. But yeah, this offensive line was beat up, and to the point where Ryan was disappointed in the pass rush. I feel like that's been the one like weak link with this defense all year, where it's kind of crept up at times, especially early in the season before the Phillips trade. That kind of bit them again in this game a little bit. But Quinyon.
On that point, it was weird. When the Phillips trade happened, it was like the pass rush fully came back. And then like down the stretch, it definitely faded like from weeks like 12 on. Like they were not getting to the quarterback as much.
Passable, like not terrible, but definitely like noticeable. And especially in a game like this where you got guys like DeMarcus Robinson getting busy in the secondary. Like
what was that first drive, dude? Like,
it's ridiculous.
I don't know. That guy has his moments though. He's always
two of the worst Quinyon.
I liked him on the Rams too.
Two of the worst Quinyon plays I've ever seen were just on that opening. He obviously made up for it. He had one of the best like playoff games ever by a corner after that. But
yeah. The thing with the AJ trade is, so I'm looking at his contract, and obviously cutting any like dumbass fan you see in like a Wawa or like on the radio, like that's not
cutting him's not even.
It's like I think it's like a 70 something million.
I was gonna say at least 60 million dead cap. So that's just.
But I will say, if you trade him post June 1,
it's not as bad.
It's like 16.3 mil against the cap, which obviously is still like it's not like an insignificant number.
It's doable though.
But yeah, I mean.
It's tough because everything he does well aligns with what Hurts does well. Like him at his best is the perfect like receiver. The pair with Hurts, it's just I don't think his best days are behind him, but I feel like it's like you got 2 years left to peak, or not peak, but like near like past.
He was noticeably less explosive this year. Now my question is, does that come down to like his mental? Like, did he want it that bad? I'm sure. He definitely didn't this year. He was clearly like unhappy.
Yeah.
The thing that I can see that is ultimately the deciding factor of him getting moved is the relationship with Sirianni, because it seems like he can't stand him. And I don't really blame, like, I think they're both super to blame for.
I feel like it's the relationship with Hurts. Like, I can't tell like if he has a bone to pick with him too.
I thought it was like that for a while, but it kind of seems like they're sort of on the mend, like up and up. Like him and Sirianni thing is definitely bad. Like there's been obviously they got into it during the game, but like the Bills game, another issue I have with Sirianni is
walking
acting
back
like
to the locker room,
child, screaming. Like Like, just shut the fuck up. Like, AJ's literally looking at him like, this douchebag. Like, he needs to clean it up. And like, and it's on Howie and Jeff too, because Sirianni got to hire Patullo because they won the Super Bowl. And the year before, when we hired Kellen Moore, Jeff and Howie basically made him come to the principal's office and say, we're going to hire Fangio and Kellen Moore, and you're going to deal with it. And they gave him some freedom, and look what happened. Like, and that's not even to mention Brian Johnson and Sean Desai and Matt Patricia all in the same season. Like, the guy has a horrific track record of hiring coaches. So my leash with him is literally like, there is none. Like, if he fucks up again, I want him gone quickly, because I'm not ready to waste another year or 2 years of this roster. Like, it can't happen again.
I guess my question is, what defines fucks up again? Because I mean, I think all three of us right now can sort of picture what next season's going to look like. Like, it's going to have the similar games where it's slow, lethargic, it looks ugly, it's low scoring. Maybe you lose to a team you shouldn't. Like, I just feel like those games are going to happen. And like, what is the turning point where it's like, okay, like, we can feel confident enough that this won't like sever any locker room vibes or whatever, and we can just be content with this decision?
I think the difference is just like watching the offense. Like, you saw them this year make the same mistakes literally over and over and over. The Broncos game, the Cowboys game, like, just sitting on the ball for 3 quarters. Like, all year you saw, there was one game where I was like, wow, the offense looks good. And it was the Vikings game. That was the only like enjoyable game all year. I think if they're good, I mean, they're going to be good next year. They'll probably win division, be in the playoffs, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not, like, getting to the playoffs is not acceptable for this team at this current moment. Like, it has to be better than that. Go ahead.
I think in terms of like when something, you'll know it's, I think if you run the same band back together, say like all the main weapons are back, right? Somebody's going to end up saying something just publicly, like out loud, instead of like, passive aggressive comment here and there. Like, it's just too big of personalities between Sirianni, AJ, Jalen, even though he's more
I think that's up to Jalen. Like, I'm looking at
I want
to be a voice, like to be more of a voice.
Yeah, but it just feels like what would break this open would be like they finally just revolt completely against this.
I think it would have to be Jalen being the one to do it. Like, I think Jalen speaking out, and also the interview he had after that game was interesting to me because he was quick to back up AJ. Like, immediately he was like, our relationship's great. I'm not worried about it. Go talk to him.
Say a fucking word about
Patullo. And then they asked him about Patullo. He was like, I'll leave that up to Jeff and Howie. Yeah. Like, immediately. So like, obviously the coaching staff, personnel stuff, he's not stoked about and probably hasn't been stoked about all season. Obviously he's in a tough spot as a quarterback and the leader of the franchise. Like, you can only say so much explicitly without being kind of the bad guy. But yeah, the Sirianni thing's interesting to me because I just don't see a point where it's going to be like, you guys are never going to be bad enough where it's like obvious that he like has to go right now. It's going to be like, you'll be, like you said, one of the top teams in the NFC, and it's just, what's the ceiling? And and my thing has always just been, if it has to be, you have 2 perfect coordinators on either side of him for it to work, then I don't see the
Well, that's the issue with not just Sirianni, the CEO, head coaches as a whole, because and the specific issue with Sirianni is he's supposed to be an offensive guy, but clearly his shit does not work. You're gonna, if you hire the right OC, they're going to be the head coach somewhere else the next year. We've seen it with Kellen, we've seen it with Steichen, we've seen it with Reich, like even back to Doug. So that's the problem with Sirianni. So that's why that's why I'm not mad if they are ultimately like, we've hit our ceiling with this guy. Like, we need to, and I know people say, well, yeah, you won the Super Bowl. I know that, but I think they won that Super Bowl in spite of him, not because of him.
I agree. I remember sitting on the couch like a couple weeks after you guys won the Super Bowl, and I'm sitting there with Brody and Aiden, and I just remember being like, I still think he's a dumbass. Like, I still think he's like a bad coach. Like
And a
I don't
question
give a shit. You guys can go 17-0 and go undefeated. Like
and a
the
question I
talent.
ask myself, and this relates to LaFleur too. Packers hire LaFleur. He is getting a job tomorrow. If
Yeah, if he
Sirianni
gets
gets
fired.
fired,
No, fuck no. He's like in the Matt Nagy
yeah,
camp.
would he
Like,
even
Yeah.
get an OC job?
Yeah, he would. Eventually he would.
Maybe on like the Browns because they're just like, oh, he's a
Yeah.
culture guy. But is he even a culture guy? We've had locker room issues the past 3 seasons.
That's the one thing is like if what he brings like all right, so even if which is insane to me, even if he doesn't bring anything to the table in terms of X's and O's, which as a head coach to me is just insane. Even if that's the case and he's just the vibes guy and he's like
He's
embodies
a bad
Philly,
vibes guy.
he's tough. The vibes have been terrible.
Horrible.
Like I just don't I don't know, man. The longer this goes on, the more it becomes an indictment on Howie to an extent.
I
And I
agree.
do think, and Brody brought this up in the group chat today. I do think to some extent Howie just wants a yes man in the head coach's seat, and he just wants
Well,
someone who will always just listen to what he wants to do.
I think what's similar to that point, I think what's different about the Eagles than a lot of jobs is the head coach coming in somewhere is sometimes like they are the big man on campus. Like when you come to the Eagles, you know that you're not. Like Howie is the shot caller above anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Which isn't the case everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, even in Green Bay, like LaFleur has so much agency, like just throughout, and like you don't see Brian Gutekunst like you rarely see his press conferences on like ESPN or like you hear
Yeah.
things about like him in the ear of other GMs or anything. Like he kind of operates in the shadows, and LaFleur's the guy that you always see.
Mhm.
Whereas I do think, I mean, and it's also just because of how good Howie is at his job. And I also think his brashness and like his willingness to kind of be out there and try to
Totally.
swing trades that nobody else is willing to even try. That's why you guys have been great. But that comes
Totally.
with him also, you know, wanting to always have his hand on the button and be the guy. So, I mean, it's a difficult situation. I mean, I didn't think that Sirianni would get fired and he's not going to, but
Yeah, he won't.
it'll be
I
interesting next year because I
the
think the
only
vibes will
way
shift.
the only way he would have gotten fired is if he pulled a Harbaugh or a Doug Peterson where they said you're firing your OC and he said no. I think they would have said, okay, then you're both gone.
Right.
yeah,
But he
like
obviously was willing to fire Petula.
I don't think we're far away from that though. Like the Eagles have had this exact mistake before with Doug, where they give him
With
too
Doug,
much leash,
yeah.
and
Same thing played
yeah.
out.
So yeah,
Yeah. To your point, Hunter, I think the difference next year, like, oh, we're seeing improvement, is if whoever they hire to be the coordinator needs to be allowed to install their scheme. Like it can't be like him and Sirianni. Like the offense needs to look schematically different for things to improve. Whether like even if they go 11-5 or 11-6, whatever, with the 17 game schedule, if the offense looks schematically different and we're seeing different things and they go 11-7 and win the division, I think people are going to be happy.
Yeah. And I guess this is a good segue. Who would you like to see? Because I've seen a lot of the names that have been popping up for the OC job. Who would you like to see be the next offensive coordinator?
I think the two that that are realistic, because like people are saying like the Eagles are interested in Stefanski. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they are, but he's going to be
Yeah,
head coach.
that's not happening.
I think the ones that make the most sense to me is one, which would be hilarious, Dable. He's obviously worked with Hurts. He's worked with Devontae. He's worked with Saquon. So like there's familiarity there. And Jalen seems to like him and respect him. And I do think he like is a pretty solid offensive coach. I mean, Dart looked great when Dable was there before he got fired. And I can't put a ton of stock into anything like pre that because the Giants are just a dumpster fire.
Right.
And I like Monken from Baltimore, who obviously got fired with Harbaugh. They do a lot of interesting stuff there with Lamar, like out of under center that like I feel like everyone's been clamoring for the Eagles to run. And obviously experience with a running quarterback is huge. And that was a huge issue this year of Jalen not running.
yeah.
Because
They gotta get another tight end in the building.
A
yeah,
blocking tight end.
Calcaterra
Yeah.
needs to get
Yeah.
the fuck out. And that's another thing. You have a receiving tight end that can't blocking every play. Like
Right.
it's just elementary misunderstanding of your players.
Yeah, I think Beck, you and I had a long discussion about that recently. Is like I think that like the inline tight end has become like one of the most important positions in football. And we saw it with the
Mhm.
Packers with Tucker Kraft actually was drafted to be that for us.
Yeah.
And he
Musgrave was
eventually
supposed to be the
yeah,
receiving guy.
Musgrave was the guy. And then
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft obviously just ended up being a star. But like even we I think the name we brought up on the last time was like a Johnny Munt type of guy. Like he
Hmm.
literally is just there as like an extension of the offensive line, and he opens up everything for the offense. I think you guys desperately need that, not only
Totally.
because
I
what
mean,
it
especially like to
hurts.
run a Todd Muckin type scheme, you definitely
Right.
need it. Like,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. That's how he's always like even like Charlie Kohler, like
yeah,
the work he did there. But yeah, I mean, I think Monken's interesting. I think I'm in a similar line of thinking with like somebody who would be big for the run scheme. And to me, Mike McDaniel's the home run for that.
Yeah, I would love that.
Obviously that's if he doesn't get one of these 9 head coach openings. Like the more head coach openings, it's like guys like that might end up getting another job. Because I think
He
there's a
also
few
interviewed
fringe
with the
guys.
Lions, and I feel
Yeah.
like he's just gonna go there.
That would suck for me because I think he would just fix like a lot of their
Yeah,
issues.
because they're like, I mean, they're like kind of Eaglesy in that like they have studs everywhere, but way less bullshit to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the stuff he would do with like JMO and Gibbs, like the speed they have and what he's
Yeah.
good at, like that would just mesh so well. But yeah, I mean, I think somebody who's a run heavy designer. Like I think you guys just ran, as you said earlier, an elementary playbook. And I
Yeah,
just
it was a
think
joke.
any
yeah,
kind of creativity will just open it up. Beck, what do you think?
Hmm.
yeah. Get somebody. Clint Kubiak's going to take a head coaching job, but try to get somebody from history.
Yeah.
Like that. That's one way to
Who's the
look at it.
other Kubiak? Isn't there another Kubiak that's in San Fran right now that is
Isn't
looking
it
for an
like
OC
Clay?
job? Yeah,
Yeah, probably they're all K names. Yeah.
which
So
is sketchy.
yeah, I kind of like going with a guy from the Kubiak tree. Just see if you can get somebody who can install that kind of same offense because they dumb it down. Like they have JSN
Yeah.
and no other weapons over there. And with the way the Eagles use they're using 2 receivers at maximum. And
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of times they go with 3 wide receiver sets just to not use dots, and it just makes so much sense to go into 12 personnel, run 2 receivers and 2 tight ends. Like that matches up exactly with how they should play way more. So I would either do that, or if you want to get somebody who's had success with the Jalen type of archetype, then go with like, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's out there. I'm not saying I like that, but that's somebody who's
Yeah.
matched with the Jalen type of archetype, especially with using the sidelines of the field with how Jalen's had a lot of his success. I would like him to utilize the middle more, but if you want to, go with his
100%.
strengths right now, then I would go with the Kingsbury possibly.
I also on Kingsbury, I thought it was kind of insane that he and Washington sort of fell out because
That
I didn't
Dan
think
Quinn.
offense was their problem.
There's
Like that
some
defense
weird
was
Not either.
so
there's
bad.
some weird baggage going around with the coaches in front office there, I read.
Yeah. I also do you
Because I
think that
agree.
he's trying to start getting his name in head coaching circles again? Like, do you think he's
Yeah,
butting
but
heads
it's not
Quinn
there
at
I'm
all?
yet.
sure he wants to, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
happening yet.
Yeah, I don't think he would get one, but do you think
which
he's
makes
butting
Nah.
heads with
yeah.
Quinn?
Yeah, I think Quinn. Like, I'm not. I feel like maybe more front office, but I feel like the dumpster fire that it was there. I think he's trying to get away so he can. Like the Eagles' job is a perfect bridge job if he
Yeah.
has success for him to get back into head coaching, which I do think
Yeah, 100%.
would be the way to go for him. So
Be a fun one.
yeah,
Yeah. But that's like that's the kind of guy you guys need is like an innovative, creative
They
play
need an
caller.
established guy that has no problem taking the reins
Right.
because that's what's gonna drive success is if they get away from the Sirianni of it all on offense, which is a crazy thing to say about your offensive head coach, but that's the reality of the situation.
yeah.
If we just stop letting our
Strip
offensive
him of
minded
all
head
our
coach.
strip him of all power, and then we'll be moving
Yeah.
in the right
If we
direction.
just put him in a baby chair and tie him
Yeah.
up somewhere and let 2 other guys run the team, we'll be good. Yeah, but let's move on to these last 2 games. The Chargers laid an egg. This was another one we got dunked on TikTok.
We got 3 more. We got the Rams too.
Oh, right. Yep. But Chargers laid an egg against the Texans. I don't know, against the Pats. Jesus Christ, it's getting late, boys. Just the offensive line in this one, we sort of mentioned it when we were talking about it, and just the fact that they just don't have tackles. Like You don't win playoff games with that. And Herbert just like running for his goddamn life. Like him and Rodgers this weekend, I just felt terrible for. Like there's just not much you can do when you have no time to move. And
Yeah, no,
also, oh, go ahead, Beck.
keep going. I got a lot to say about this because
Yeah,
they
and,
cost me a
and
lot of
Yeah,
money.
I my other thing is I thought the defense for LA did their job. Like they forced
100%.
Yeah,
Drake May to play like shit for the entirety of the first
Yeah.
half. And I know he got busy with his legs a little bit in the second
Yeah, he made
half,
a
but
couple big plays,
but like
but
they did their job. And I don't know. To me, it's again, the storyline is going to be Justin Herbert again can't win a playoff game, which I mean does need to be discussed, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But fuck, man, like it's really brutal when you just don't have any offensive line. But I guess you could say CJ Stroud had the same situation and got to win. What do you guys think about this one?
yeah. I mean, I legitimately can't. I thought Herbert played so goddamn horrendously. I mean,
on the back.
you know the situation, and that's part of the reason I picked them coming into this game. You've had this all year, and I've kind of liked the way that you've utilized your legs way more. I thought that was gonna be a difference
Yeah,
maker in this game, and he tried to, but on the run, he missed throws on the run, like that one the lad
yeah,
opening drive. That's a miss. He gets a 9 yard rush off of that, but there's nobody near lad, and that was time and time. Like Herbert missed plenty of guys in this game, and the scheme that they were like they brought in extra protection for him. He had the most time statistically that he's had to throw all year. It was like 3.45 seconds snap to throw. Like obviously that's not a perfect stat to, you know, kind of review or be the indicator for how good the protection was. But you have guys in protection, and there's plays to be made on script or off script. And I thought Herbert, like he just didn't have good vision of the field this game at all. Like I watched tons of clips of him miss guys that were open, where he usually that should be the read, and the ball should be coming out. Like he was trigger shy the whole game. And I feel like that comes from the game last year against the great defense in Houston, where he threw 4 interceptions.
yeah,
That had to be in the back of his mind where he didn't want to lose this game. But ultimately, you lose this game when your defense gifts you a turnover at the New England 8 yard
Eight
line,
yard,
yeah. That's
and you
tough.
get
0 points.
points out of it.
Yeah, that does it.
How, man? How, man? And 3 points. As bad as the Eagles' offense is, we're talking about how elementary it is. And Herbert's last 10 quarters of playoff football, they are still getting outscored by the Eagles on Sunday. 19
Yeah,
to
that's
18.
bad.
Are we serious, man? And the misuse of Lad McConkey, like, is this that 197 yards in his last 10 games?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, big down
there's
year for
plenty
Lad.
of weapons on the outside on this team. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give him that excuse. You got McConkey, the best version of Quentin Johnson. Yeah, you got Gadsden,
Gadsden.
Keenan Allen, Trey Harris, even throw him in the fold. Like Vidal, the Hampton thing was weird in this game that he didn't really play at all. But
He's banged
yeah.
up.
still, there and your defense is giving you opportunities to win all three of these games. I know the focus should be just on this game, but this game in particular, man, like Drake May did not play particularly well at all. Your
Mm.
defense holds New England to 16 points. This game has to be won against a rookie quarterback on the road. I don't care. And it's again, like I don't know how much you want to put on like Greg Roman's offense. Like obviously that's not a great offense, and he's been around too long. He got canned after this game too. But is he? I don't think he's fully to blame at all. I think this like to me, I'd rather Herbert have a game against like he did against Houston last year, where he's at least going for it. This was the most pussy shit I've ever seen in my life. Point blank, period. You know the situation. You know it's not going to be great protection. You've dealt with it all year. But come on, man. Let it fly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I echo everything Beck said. Like, you're 0-6 in the playoffs. Like, at some point, you got to go win a football game, man. And of course, the O line was an issue, but like Beck said, it's been an issue all season, and also it's been an issue his whole career. And is that like fair to him? No, like that sucks. Like that's on them for not protecting their quarterback. And this year, I know they have better tackles and they got hurt, but you know the situation, like Beck said, like you know exactly how the game's going to play out. Your defense did more than their job. you've beaten good teams. We can argue about how good the Eagles are. They beat them. Like they've been in games with good teams. That there's
They've beat good teams all year.
yeah, there's no excuse for them to put up 3 points. I'm sorry, like
it's
it's
just not what
just
he's put on tape all year, man. He played like a
yeah.
pussy.
And Herbert's
Yeah.
been great this year, but the way people talk about Herbert, like I've seen people say if you put Herbert on the Eagles, they go undefeated. While that might be true, go win your own game. Like people give Herbert a crazy amount of grace
Yeah.
for and other quarterbacks shit for players that have had more success than him. He's a great quarterback. I'm not denying that at all. His talent's unbelievable, and he was great all year. But you just can't be 0-6 in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I wonder if as these losses start to stack, like the internal like
For sure.
anxiety, like I think that starts to become a fact. Like it starts to become I'm like the playoff dropper. And like as soon as
Yeah,
that starts to creep in, you're fucked. Like
Yeah,
that's
and
and
you're trying.
go ahead, Baba.
I think no. What Beck said earlier is definitely right. I think last year was a case of that where he was like, "I got to go out and make a play," and he threw
yeah.
4 picks. And then this year, he's like, "I got to control the game and get the ball out." He was his feet were panicky all night. He was scared to throw the football, and it's completely in his head at this
Yeah.
point. Like I don't think it's arguable.
Yeah, it's I didn't think it would have reached that point yet, and that's what shocked me and was the biggest letdown about that game. And at the end of the day, man, like I don't think you can go through many quarterbacks' first three playoff starts and find help that they've got from their defense that has been better than Herbert. That's what makes this even worse. Is you get 4 interceptions in the first half of your first playoff game against the Jags, and you somehow find a way to blow that game. Then against the Texans last year, you hold them down for 3 quarters until they. I mean, it's just the pick six that was what blew it open last year. And this game, the Pats have 6 points going into the fourth quarter, man. And you were gifted the ball at the 8 yard line, and you got 0 points out of it. How is this possible? Like that was just a game that the Chargers should have won in any scenario if you get a normal performance from Herbert. And yeah, it's really disappointing to see. Like I had faith in him. I think I'm reserving, you know, hope for him in these big moments until I see otherwise. Like that, this was the evidence I needed to be out for good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the one thing I think Ryan, you touched on a little bit too is we've seen it a lot of times in the playoffs where quarterbacks who can use their legs but aren't known for using their legs start to run a lot more in the playoffs because they want the game to be won or lost on them. And I think in the past we've seen it mostly with Mahomes where like in the
Yeah.
playoffs all of a sudden he's like the best running quarterback in the NFL but just because like he won't go down and he will like win a game for his team with his legs. But I feel like that's because Mahomes has had terrible receiving options around him and like he's forced into situations like that. This just
Hmm.
felt like Herbert shat himself and was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna like that. What was it was early on in the game. I don't know, Beck, if it's the same situation you're talking about, where they had a few straight plays down in the red zone. I think they got a field goal out of it, so it wasn't the same drive, but they had a few plays down inside the 10 where Herbert just like one step drop, barely even gets into his drop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then bails. And it's just he just completely gave up on any routes. It didn't even look like he looked up. He just immediately bailed.
Yeah, it was either
Um,
that or sit in the pocket like a duck and not let it fly and just
yeah,
wait to get hit. Like that was more frustrating than even like bailing on the play early. It's because like what do you do? Like what's standing in the pocket gonna do for you?
yeah,
And just not letting it go. I didn't get it, man. It's really, really bad.
yeah. But on the Pat side of this, I think the Drake May performance was I know the Chargers defense is great, and we also maybe should touch on the fact that they're probably going to lose their DC Jesse Minter, who apparently is interviewing for every head coach opening. I think he's got an interview with all 8 teams right now, and we haven't heard about the Steelers yet. But that defense was great, and Adafe Owe was a huge pickup. He had 3 sacks in this one, but it is a little worrying to me that we haven't seen this team be dominant, except on the defensive side, against any of the good teams they've played this year. Like, and this was what we've talked about leading up to the playoffs was like, we know that this Pats team is at bare minimum solid. Like they're a solid, good football team. To make a run, I think that they have to show me a little bit more, especially on the offensive side. Like you get plays here and there from like Kayshon Boutte or Diggs or Ramondre breaks something off, but like I don't know exactly offensively, besides Drake May being special, what they hang their hat on. And going forward, I just I'm not and they get a decent matchup and probably what'll be a very similar game, like a low
Yep.
scoring, just two defenses who are elite going at it. But what do you guys think about the Pats going forward?
This team's not winning the Super Bowl. It's that simple. They're not good enough on offense, and I don't really feel like their defense has been tested either. Like I
Yeah,
know they're a good defense, but and I know they beat the Bills, so that's their one game that they've beat a winning team, less than Jackson Dart. He played about 8 games this year. But yeah, I just don't think this team could win the Super Bowl with the weapons that they have. Like, and also the weapons that they have, they don't even use them right. Like Travion Henderson is way better than Ramondre Stevenson. He's way more explosive with the ball in his hands. He's their best big play option, and they rarely utilize him in that way. Diggs is their best receiver, but like, are we worried about Stephon Diggs in the big 2026? No, and none of their other guys scare me. They can they can battle any team. I feel like I'm not saying
yeah.
they're awful. Like they're not going to get blown out by anyone, and I think they could definitely win this week. But I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Beck.
I got at this point, I guess I kind of like their formula. I know they haven't. We can say they haven't been tested. I agree, and I don't think the Chargers tested them at all with the way they played on
Yeah,
offense. But at the end of the day, the way that they don't have an obvious number one guy, like maybe that plays to their advantage against a team. Like you really can't. Who the fuck do you scheme against on the Patriots?
Drake
Like
May.
no, yeah,
yeah, but like any weapons,
Yeah. No,
like
you
nobody.
don't.
so I mean, I feel like that does make it a little bit of a different challenge as opposed to when you play another team. But to beat a team like the Bills or a high-powered offense or a team that has the capability of being a high-powered offense, you are going to need those explosives from like a guy like Travion
Yeah.
or even Kyle Williams coming in. Like you're going to need Hunter Henry to be a good safety blanket. Again, I agree that I don't think they can make a run to the Super Bowl because I just don't trust everything to come together on the offensive end for them for, two more games for 4 quarters. And I didn't see a lot of evidence of it in this game, but it's not like I don't have great faith in the rest of the teams in this field either. Like
Yeah, that's
it
what I was
feels
just
very
about to
wide open to
say.
me.
That's
So
what I was just about to say. The
yeah,
only reason I think I could see them make a run to the Super Bowl is like that Texans offense looked
Horrible.
atrocious, man. And
yeah,
Yeah,
CJ Stroud, we'll get to him,
CJ Stroud's a fraud.
so
That brother
bad.
stinks.
yeah.
And like so they play them also no Nico Collins potentially for them. He has a concussion. So the Texans will be hampered offensively and then the only way I see them getting to the Super Bowl is if the Broncos are the one that come out of that Broncos
Yeah,
Bills game. Because I just don't see that. I think Josh Allen, at this point, we just have to give him the grace of like
yeah,
in a game against the Pats, I just think he would score
that's
too
who
many
I'd want.
points.
Yeah, I'd rather
Like
have
he
Josh.
just
Yeah,
would
I'd
score
rather
too
be the
many
Bills.
points.
Yeah.
So I think if it broke out to be Texans Broncos, I'd feel pretty good about the Pats. But other than that, yeah, I mean, they could
Yeah,
even lose that Texans game.
I should say, I think they can make the Super Bowl. I have more issue with them winning the Super Bowl
Oh yeah,
because if they make it and have to play the Rams, I'm sorry, they're just not going to outscore them. Same
no,
with the Seahawks. Like I just don't see
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm definitely I don't think I can cross them off from making a run because again, if a lot of this comes down to coaching, which I think it does, I think they have one of the top two coaches left, and I think they're both in this matchup. I would like
Yeah, that's fair.
Vrabel and D'Amico over McDermott and Peyton at this point, and pretty
I would
handily.
agree. I would agree.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I kind of like the way that this NFC shook out. The AFC is a weird one to me, and it's tough to sort of gauge. Let's go back to that Panthers Rams game. I should have brought that one up first, but almost an identical. Beck and I were texting about this, but almost an identical sort of way that game unfolded to the regular season game. And
Yep,
there was a point where I was like, "Holy shit, the Panthers are gonna do this."
for sure.
They weren't able to pull it out, but what we see in this one, and is there anything that concerned you about the Rams going forward?
Yeah, I think the Panthers, I know the last drive is getting a lot of steam about how like the Panthers played prevent and granted Horn was out. Like that wasn't great at all. But their DC gives Stafford problems, man. Like he's 12 of
Yeah,
27 at
clearly.
one point in that point
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that game. Like, and plenty of turnover
Should have
worthy
thrown
plays.
another pick too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. The Panthers win that game if that guy makes that pick. I mean, great play by Puka to break that up.
Yeah. Maybe
Um,
won the game.
yeah, and I'll give the Panthers a lot of credit here. Like I think Bryce Young just has like the innate ability to show out in big games. I'm not sure if you love him being your quarterback for 17 games. Like there's going to be ups and downs, but I do trust him in a big moment to show up. And maybe it's not going to be enough to get it done every time, but at least I know he's going to show up and he's an easy guy to root for. I think they got great offensive infrastructure right now on the outside with Tet and Coker. Like I love these big body receivers. I think those two play very well off each other. And you're probably going to get a replacement for Leggett in the offseason. I think Tremble's giving them something too as a
Badoosh.
tight end. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see like who else they bring in for running back. Because obviously Shuba's gonna be there next year, but Rico's gonna be on his way out. So I think you try to bring in a more
Did we lose
stable
him?
third weapon, and then a good running back complement to Rico and build up this defense even more. Because I like a lot of the tools on this defense right now. I think with
Yeah.
more talent, they could be, the favorite in the NFC South next year. On the Rams side, real quick, I think it's just a lot of the same that I've seen from them the last 6 weeks. I don't know if they're a great team right now. They feel like a very flawed team.
Yeah.
I trust McVay, but at the end of the day, I kind of trust the results that I'm seeing on tape, and they're not able to really bludgeon anybody anymore. Like every game they're in is close, and they have plenty of mistake worthy plays. And it's not the Stafford that we saw who had 28 straight touchdowns this year. Like if he turns the ball over enough, like they will lose a game, and that's gonna be a scary game against the Bears. Like there's gonna be plenty of big plays on both sides that swing it in terms of turnovers and fourth downs. That's gonna be like that's a
Yeah.
very hard game to pick.
I
But
think the game's
I'm more out on the Rams than I've been. Like yeah, I get more out on them every week. I feel like.
Yeah, they sketched me a little bit. I just want to read off the number of points they've given up in their last like 6-ish weeks. So it's the first Panthers game, they give up 31. Then it's Cardinals, they only give up 17. Then Lions 34, Seahawks 38, Falcons, that game they inexplicably lost against the Falcons,
Got
27.
fuck dominated.
Cardinals 20 again. So Cardinals are bailing them out in these last 6 weeks.
But
And then
that Cardinals game
Even
was so
still
close.
20.
yeah, that was a close game. And then this Panthers game 31. Like this defense is porous, man. And
Yeah,
that
it's bad.
secondary is atrocious, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like with all the talent they have on that defensive front, the secondary just can't stop anyone, man. Like, and it's not like they're running into like buzzsaw offenses. Like the Panthers weren't like an elite offense. This was like a 25th, 26th best offense in the league. Like, yeah, I mean, the Rams really sketch me, and I do think that there's a world where this Bears passing attack gives them a lot of
Totally.
problems.
Yeah.
I think that just on its own, it's pretty hard for me to believe in a team winning the Super Bowl that nearly lost twice to the Panthers in the span of a month and a half. That's just a bad look, no matter how you look at it. I do want to shout out P Dib, Panther dressed in black, Bryce Young.
Let's go.
He played a great game, and people are kind of like clowning him for the last drive, like up until he did look shaky on that last drive, but at the end of the day, when the game was on the line, he put a ball right in his receiver's hands, and the receiver caught the ball the wrong way and dropped the ball. So like he should have had a chance to continue that drive down the field if that guy comes through and catches the ball. I can't remember what receiver it was.
Jimmy Horn.
Yeah, it was Jimmy Horn.
Crazy work.
But I mean, it's like we said about Herbert. Like I want to see you come out and sling it, and P Dib did that. So I gotta give him
Exactly.
flowers for that.
Yes. And had back against the wall early. Like he's down
Yeah.
17-0, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I thought it was a gutsy performance from Bryce. And honestly, like the Bryce Young experience has been really, really strange because I've gone like I'm on the roller coaster with him, man. Like in the beginning, obviously it was just he's a bust, and then
Yeah.
slowly, like after the Andy Dalton thing, and he comes back in and kind of shows some life. You're like, okay. And then this year, it's like the highs were really high and the lows were like, okay, maybe like he's just not an NFL quarterback low.
Yeah.
And I feel like now we're at sort of a point where you know that the baseline competence is enough. and
like he's an NFL quarterback,
yeah,
certainly.
and like a top half. I think he's at worst like a mediocre NFL quarterback, which is
I think a lot of people will push back. I agree with you, but I think a lot of people will push back against that right now.
Yeah, I think at worst he's mediocre. Like he might, but I could also say like, at best he's mediocre as
yeah.
well.
I mean that's true. Like we haven't
Yeah,
really seen him like light the world on fire, but
yeah,
I do think this, as Beck said, like on this stage, especially for
yeah,
this Panthers team that hasn't been in the playoffs in years, like that was a big
totally.
sign to me.
Yeah,
Like,
he's an easy guy to rally behind, and I think that like tangibly does matter.
yeah,
And
Definitely.
there's plenty of games this year, like the Packers game, and some of the other like ugly games where they won. Like that's going to be their formula if they get better personnel on the defense, and if you get better performances from Bryce, I think you can be potentially like a 12-win team next year. That's like ideally how the Panthers would want to build this thing out.
first place schedule though.
Yeah, true. No,
Yeah, he's clearly like a good leader. Like in that game, like before halftime, he was the first one in the locker room, like waited, greeted all his teammates. Like he has the leadership aspects of being like a face of the franchise.
yeah.
They're in a tough spot. I believe they just exercised his 5th-year option. Like that's could be pretty scary next year. Like
Like
let's say he has
27 mil.
yeah, like paying him a lot could be scary. But I hope he balls out and earns like the big payday. That would obviously be awesome for him and the Panthers if he has a great year. But if he has like another year where it's like sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad, like they're in a scary position of facing an extension with him.
Yeah, but I honestly that like wouldn't be the worst thing. I don't think he's gonna if he has the same type of year he does this year, he's not gonna command crazy money at all. Because I mean, I don't think another team's gonna want to throw a bag
I don't
at him.
know. I
Dude,
don't know.
have you seen some of the quarterbacks
Yeah.
in the NFL? No, but I
Fair
agree
enough.
with you. I do agree with you, Beck. Also, like the 5th-year option, it's 27 mil is like Justin Fields money at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't blink and you give him that.
Oh no,
Especially
yeah,
after,
you absolutely exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely.
So like, I mean, the extension will be interesting, and like what that figure does turn out to be will be interesting. But yeah, I think for the Panthers, like at the end of the day, if you're a Panthers fan coming out of the season, you feel pretty
Absolute
good.
win.
Like
Yeah, absolute
like,
win.
that was
Yeah.
like even just as a neutral, like it was fun to watch the Panthers
Yeah.
this year, which is like more than you could say about
I mean,
a
it
lot
would
of
have been
Panthers fans.
awesome if they won that game. Like,
Yeah,
I wanted them to
unreal.
win so bad.
Yeah.
And especially like the fact that the Bucks implode, like they have been owned this division forever, and now it's completely wide open. And if you can, take their spot as the team owning this division, that's a good look for them.
I
So,
can't wait to get into my Baker narratives this offseason.
all right,
He's not good.
Yeah.
He isn't good.
Yeah.
But let's finish out with the Steelers Texans. We can be real quick with this one. Yeah, I mean, just an egregiously bad game to watch. CJ Stroud was bad. Steelers offensive line was egregious. Rodgers was bad. Steelers don't have a running game. Woody Marks got a little busy, and then the Texans defense just took over. What do we think about this game, and where do the Texans stand?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you feared for Pittsburgh. Like, Houston continues to cement themselves as the clear best defense to me. Like, I think
Special.
Absolutely.
Seattle and Denver are like
Absolutely.
the number 2 and 3, but handily. Like that, this Houston defense is amazing. But I don't think you come away thrilled. Like the way Stroud
No.
played 4 fumbles, it gives me less faith.
That was
going
insane, dude.
It's really bad, man. And if you don't have Nico Collins, he's like that whole passing game that I trust. Like,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
probably lean New England if actually I would definitely lean New England if Collins is out. Like,
You don't
I
trust
would
Christian Kirk.
not at all. Not Charlie.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Crazy work by Stephen A.
Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I'm like leaning Houston if Collins plays against New England, but I don't feel great. But definitely if Nico's out,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
going
tough
New
one.
England. It's just CJ's got to be better, man. Like, you got the best defense of like the last 10 years.
All he has to do is be a game manager. Like if he can
Yeah.
be Trent Dilfer, they can win the Super Bowl. But like he hasn't even been capable of that. Like he's one of the most disappointing players in the league to me since his rookie year. Like we were talking about Herbert looking panicked in the pocket. He looked like he literally had no clue what was going on every time he dropped back. Like
Yeah.
it was sorry stuff from him.
I'm certainly getting to that point, especially like, I mean, the Pittsburgh front can sometimes be frisky, but that's not a good defense overall at all.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that should have never been a game. No, that's
Yeah.
my only point on that.
No, no. I mean, and the fact that it was 30-6 with that offensive performance, like, tells you
Yeah,
everything you
because the
need to know.
defense scored multiple
Like,
touchdowns.
they
Like,
they they could have knelt the ball every play and just
yeah,
punted and won the game. Yeah, I mean, it's worrying for CJ and the offense. I do think them getting like a semblance of a run game going could be big because you had Woody going, and then even Chubb like was frisky. And I don't know. I guess the one thing
Unk
you
still
might
got
tell
it.
yourself,
Mhm.
yeah, the one thing you might tell yourself is like, it can't get worse for CJ. Like, the performance can't be worse than that. Um,
I think Justin Herbert's complete evidence that it can be.
I mean, they were comparable, dude. Like,
Yeah,
CJ
yeah,
was
Yeah, they were both
bad, dude.
bad. They were
Like,
both bad.
putting the ball on the ground like every other play. But yeah, I mean, this defense is like, I'm starting to put them in like the pantheon of like
Yeah, they're
yeah,
really looking
special,
good. It's
special
insane.
defenses. Like, even like Rankins, Autry, like the guys you don't hear, like, we all know like the Neil Hunter, Will Anderson, and then that secondary, but like they just have guys everywhere. El
Everywhere.
Shair, like that you can't do anything. Like, there's nothing you can point at on a scouting report and be like, this is what we're gonna attack. There
And they're
aren't
like
flaws.
and
they're
they're all
absolute
young as shit.
bullies
Yeah.
too. They're complete bullies.
And
Like,
they have D'Amico Ryans coaching
Yeah.
them. Like,
yeah,
it's a special, special defense. And I just hope that CJ pulls his head out of his ass and gets these boys going, because all he has to do is put up 20 points.
Seriously, that's the
And they're
barometer.
beating the
if
Pats.
that,
Yeah.
the defense might
16,
give him 7 a
16
game.
points.
I think if they get the 21 points, then I
No
think
one's
they could.
beating them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they win the Super Bowl. That's
Yeah.
that's what I said coming in.
Yes.
I
But
agree.
They,
this game made me feel terrible about that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because you look at it and it's like, so, I mean, so the Pats game will be, to me, that's a coin flip. And yeah, I think 20 points wins that game. And then if they play, say it's the Bills, we saw what that defense can do to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, that's a good matchup for them. So the Texans are a real wild card here, and they might be the team that could just like flip this playoff bracket on its head. But yeah, it's really, to me right now, is just, what do you get out of CJ Stroud? Can you get
Yeah.
a 175-yard, one touchdown, no pick performance? Like, that's it. That's all you need. And like 70 yards from Woody.
Seriously, I never thought I'd get to this point, especially only 3 years in with him. But it's crazy how it's flipped. I have little to no faith right now.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think that win was it the Browns game where they just blew the doors off them in the first round.
Yeah.
The same
Mhm.
day as the Packers Cowboys. But yeah, I think that did a lot of heavy lifting for like, also he was special throughout the season, but like
Yeah, he was
that did a lot of
fantastic.
heavy lifting of like how we viewed him, especially as like a playoff quarterback.
Yeah.
Um,
But I
He
mean,
didn't look bad against the Ravens when Lamar
Yeah,
beat him. Like,
that's true.
they hung in that game, and it was kind of like he's going up against the MVP right now, and
Yeah.
he's in it with. He's very
Yeah.
close to making a championship game as a rookie. Like,
I
to go from
think
that to
that's,
where we
yeah.
are now is crazy.
I do think that's kind of what gives me a little bit of hope that like this could have been an aberration, and that like he can, even if he,
He was pretty bad last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
No.
been 2 years of ineptitude. I have that
Yeah.
Ravens, the game they played the Ravens on like Saturday last year, and how terrible they looked. Like
Yeah.
I had that game stuck in my head, and yeah, it's kind of the
Although
same
they
personnel.
do definitely need some like upgrades to the offense. Like, we're talking about Nick Chubb getting frisky. Like, that's unserious
Yeah.
behavior. Woody Marks is, come
I
on
love
now.
Woody. I'm big on Woody.
That's fine, but like, he's
Yeah.
just a guy. Let's
Yeah.
be serious.
I mean,
Like,
repair
they
the
need a run
offensive
game.
line.
They need
Yeah.
some more receivers. And I
I
know they
think-
drafted some receivers, but like, they're gonna need those guys to step into a big role to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll
to
be
do
big for Higgins this game, and see if he can kind of step in, because I think he's that big bodied kind of outlet receiver that they're going to need, because they run more digs than anyone else in the NFL, and a big body like Nico Collins, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
So I think Higgins could step right in there. It sucks with Tank Dell because like if they had him,
He
this
was a
would
great
be,
counter to
yeah, it was
to
like you had,
Nico
right,
and
exactly.
those
It's
guys.
so much balance in the passing game, but yeah, they're gonna have to muster something together. On the Steelers side of this, I just do want to say this. Obviously, Mike Tomlin steps down as the coach, and then obviously there's questions about Aaron Rodgers heading into next season, as there are every offseason. What do you guys think about Tomlin stepping down and that opening now in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm shocked. I thought they were both going to run it back. I thought
Yeah,
Tomlin's
Same.
going to come back, and I thought Rodgers was going to come
Same.
back. So now I don't really know where I stand on Rodgers. If he comes back, I don't think it's Pittsburgh. But yeah, I mean, I think it was time for Tomlin, but I'm shocked that it happened. I have to say.
you think if Rodgers came back, it would be for somebody else?
At this point, like I don't think I can't see him
It
playing
seemed
for a
like
new
him and
coach.
Tomlin were
Yeah.
like tied together, like
That's
they
what I'm
really
saying.
liked
Yeah.
each other.
That is true. Yeah, and that's true because if you bring in also
A new coach, you think they're
It's-
gonna want to be like,
right,
let's roll.
that's kind of like the reverse of like the lame duck coach. Now it's like
Yeah,
the lame
fresh
duck
start.
quarterback.
We have a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wish 42, 43.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, so I either think retirement for Rodgers or like
I kind of think he's done.
Vikings.
Yeah, I kinda think
think
he's
Vikings just come in, give JJ McCarthy competition. That's like the only other place that makes
Just
sense.
like play
Which
the Packers.
honestly, like,
Yeah.
and he'd end up starting like 6 games because
Would
JJ's
be
gonna have
hilarious.
weird
Yeah.
injuries
That would
every
be
other week,
He'd start like 12.
and he'd probably be fine, dude. Like,
Better than
Yeah, except-
McCarthy.
we were
Yeah.
convincing ourselves that like Carson Wentz for like 2 weeks. We were like, maybe Carson can like be mediocre
he's a
enough.
I mean,
warrior.
they kind of did him wrong. Like that game against the
Yeah,
Chargers was brutal.
Yeah.
yeah. The Vikings coaches did completely
Yeah.
fuck him.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I don't know. I do think this is probably the end of the road for Rodgers, and like the broadcast and like everything, like it made it really feel like it was. And if it is, you think back and it's like the last pass Rodgers ever threw in Green Bay was a pick to Gerby Joseph that knocked us out of the playoffs. Like we
Correct.
didn't even get in the playoffs. It made us 8-9. We missed
Yeah.
out, and then he has the Jets debacle with the Achilles. And then he throws a pick
Pick
six.
six.
Like, are those his last 3 moments? Like in the NFL, like that's
Nah, 'cause
such a
I mean,
sad way to go out.
You just don't count this game, and you count last week against the Ravens as the going out
Yeah.
party, which I kind of did in my mind.
Yeah,
And
at least he did have his vintage moment.
he
I
had a
had this
few
game
throughout
on
the
as
season.
background noise. Like I would peek every now and then. It was just a foregone conclusion, and
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really want to see him go out that way because I found myself rooting for him after last week, especially. Like that was an awesome game and cool story, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think
Also-
we all knew. I think we all knew how this game was going to go. I think it went exactly how I pictured it. I'm honestly so sick and tired of watching the Steelers squeak into the playoffs just to get obliterated. Like, just
Yeah.
fuck off for the next 5 years, please. Like, at least Tomlin's not there, so it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
Unless it is, and they're just destined to go 9-8. But I'm so tired of watching them play football, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to figure out quarterback now, which is like, I don't know. It's gonna be a rebuild. And also, they don't have like the infrastructure is not good. Like
No,
they
this team
don't
was
They're
have.
built
bad.
This
They
team was
don't
built like a
have-
team that had a 1-year window.
Yeah, which
So
is
many veterans.
crazy. Yeah, because like it wasn't enough talent to do that. But they like you look at the roster, it's old heads on the defense, and then it's like what do you hang your hat on in terms of like building blocks on either side of the ball? Like you have
Nothing. DK is not good, man.
yeah. Also,
That
yeah.
is a disaster.
Yeah.
And
Also-
their
yeah.
their biggest building block was Kenneth Gainwell.
That's
Like,
what I was
he
just about to say.
He
bro.
was theirs. He was
their team
story.
MVP.
He's
Yes.
awesome, by the way. Like I love him
is.
as
He
an
is.
Eagle.
Yeah, he was
I
great.
yeah, better than Miles Sanders, and should have rode him
Yeah.
the first Super Bowl run. But
But,
back to
yeah.
that point, DK limited route tree really doesn't do anything for you in the red zone, even as a big body. He's just get
He's a
him on
horrible
like
contested catch
yeah.
guy.
get him on a dig up in the middle, and hopefully he can break a couple tackles. That's like all he's good for. It's
Great
literally
getting in
all he's good
altercations
for.
with fans too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eh.
but I mean, like it'll be interesting because you're gonna have to bring in a new head coach. And it sounded like Flores is gonna get an interview there, and obviously he was already a defensive assistant there under Tomlin. So
Tomlin Jr. Like literally.
yeah, like just
Arthur Smith is Tomlin Jr. Just promote him. If
Oh.
you really want to.
that would make me throw up. But yeah, so new era in Pittsburgh and Texans moving on. Let's go ahead to the divisional round and let's make some picks here. Lead off with Bills at Broncos. Romo and Nance on the call in the Mile High City. What do we got here, boys?
I'd rather hang my hat on Josh Allen than this Broncos defense because, again, I said this Broncos defense, like, great front four to me. I think I love Surtain, but I think everything else has some holes that you can pick. And I think that will be enough for Josh Allen. And, like, I can't get behind anything on this Broncos offense right now. And I'll continue to say that until I'm proven wrong. So I'm
Right.
going Bills.
Yeah, as much as I love the fix Bo Nix, I'm also riding with Josh Allen and the Bills. I just think the Bills, like like I said about Allen earlier, I thought he played super in control. Like I think they know that like this is their chance with how wide open the AFC is with no Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar. I think Allen and the Bills know like this has to be the year. So I like them to win this game. And for the same reasons Beck said, you just can't quite trust the Broncos enough
Yeah.
on offense.
It really, to me, like the thing also is we just watched like it's a little bit of like the fool me once because we just watched the Jags, who to me are a more complete version
I
of the
agree.
Broncos. Like
Yeah.
we just watched them not be able to get it over the line against the Bills at home. And I just feel like a dumbass if I were to pick the Broncos in this one. So I'm just gonna ride with Josh Allen. Like, and I
Yep.
that might just be the way I pick this AFC is just like I
Yeah.
feel dumb for not leading off that way in the first round, but yeah, I just don't think that Broncos their run game sucks. Bo Nix's only like elite special game I thought was that Packers game, and really it was after Micah went down he started to cook. So yeah, I don't like that offense, and I think the Bills win that one. Let's go to Niners at Seahawks. Niners coming off obviously the first round bye. What do we got here, guys?
No, go ahead.
This is a pretty easy Seahawks for me. We just saw the Seahawks beat them 13-3. Niners are like a good story, honestly. They've battled their ass off through injuries. Probably definitely shouldn't be as good as they have been this year. But I think the Seahawks are too talented. That Niners defense is just truly not good right now. The Eagles made them look way better than they are. And
Yeah.
the Seahawks offense is truly special. Like they're leading the NFL in points per game. I don't think the Broncos or the Niners just have enough to stick with them. So I'm riding with Seahawks.
Beck?
I'm so torn, man. Because I mean, the evidence of these two matchups, and they're both in week 1 and week 17. So it's been on both sides of the spectrum of the schedule. They've both been grimy games. I think these teams know each other well. I think it's going to be sort of a defensive battle like it's been both of these games. And I love the coaching staffs on both teams. I think Shanahan's going to be been a great coach, and especially considering the situation he's had this year. I, I I have to lean Seahawks just in terms of like personnel and who they have healthy, and I think they can overwhelm San Fran more in their strength. And I do have some holdback on Darnold, man. I really do.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
That's literally the only
yeah,
thing in this game. Like,
that's it scares me. And like if it's a score game late, I do trust Purdy, but I trust Purdy more than Darnold, of course.
For
But
sure.
yeah.
I'll go with the best unit in this game. I think Seahawks defense is the best unit in this game, so I'll lean Seahawks, especially at home. But it's this is tough. Like I could see it going either way.
I
Yeah.
think the longer the game goes, the better it is, or like the longer that it's close, the better it is for the Niners. Like
Yeah.
I think it's
100%.
really important that the Seahawks jump out and start early and get
Yeah.
off to a good start.
Yeah, the Niners need the same exact game script as the Birds
Hmm.
game. Yeah, I think the Seahawks have the two best units in this game.
Yep.
And like I know that the two games they played this regular season were grimy, as you said, Beck. I do think that week 17 game was a lot more lopsided than the score
Seahawks should
ended
have
up
won that
being.
game by way
They
more.
should have won that
Yeah.
game by like
Agreed.
30 points.
Like if Darnold plays like that, there's no reason you're gonna lose. I
Yeah,
thought
he
he
could
was
easily.
Yeah. Like yeah, go
yeah.
ahead, Beck.
Yeah, like talking about in control, like that was the first time I felt like he was in control of a game. But I just saw him. You never know
The
when.
lights are brighter.
Yeah, and I've seen Sam Fran give him trouble week 1.
Yeah.
Seen the Rams give him problems multiple times. Like this team, again, my problem with Seattle is they never really start hot. Like it's always close at halftime. And I think if it is in this type of game, divisional matchup, playoffs, lights are bright, like it's going to be close at the end. And that's where I like kind of want to go San Fran, but I just can't do
Come
it given
on.
all the injuries.
Dude.
I'm going Seattle.
Yeah. I also just think like with all the injuries they had, like at the end of the day, you still could be like, okay, we have CMC and Kittle. And now it's like, fuck, we don't even have Kittle
Yeah, I was
anymore.
gonna
Like,
say.
what do they do, bro? Like, if they don't have that Jawan Jennings bullshit swing around kind of through a dot, Willie Mays
Yeah.
CMC catch, like that offense didn't really do much. Like, and Purdy threw the two picks. I I don't know even if this game stays close. I guess it's just can CMC have like a moment of magic is like the only way they win this game. But yeah, I'm gonna roll the
I just can't
Seahawks.
see them running the ball
Yeah.
effectively
Yeah.
against. I mean, they couldn't run against the Eagles, and Seattle defense
Yeah.
is just as good, if not better.
Yeah. Also, Kenneth Walker and Charbs is starting to cook down
Yeah.
the stretch of this season. Let's go Texans at Pats. This one is a coin flip to me. Who do you guys have in this one?
Somebody go first. I gotta.
I've flipped in my head so many
Yeah,
different
I flipped
times,
twice while we were
like
on this
literally
pod.
in the last 30 seconds. Ultimately, I'm gonna ride with the Pats. I'll take Drake May and the MVP kind of narrative just because I'm not confident in Stroud to get him through. But like I'm not confident in that pick at all. I could see this going either way, but I'll take the better quarterback, the offense that I have more faith in put like 17 points is probably going to win this game.
Yeah.
And I think the Pats are going to have an easier time getting to 17 even on the better defense than Stroud.
Beck?
Go ahead, Hunter.
I know. I'm trying to go last two. I'm gonna go against the script here. I'm gonna go Texans. I just that Drake May performance sketched me just enough off the set for the Pats. I already had reservations about that offense. I was skeptical about what it would look like against a better defense. And this Texans defense is much better than the Chargers. Like the Chargers defense is good. This Texans defense is much better than the Chargers defense. I think Drake's going to really struggle again, and it's going to be difficult for him to run against this Texans defense, which I think that's like maybe their best asset right now is Drake May's legs. So the one thing is like as we've talked about ad nauseum already, is like I don't know if I trust CJ Stroud right now, but I do just think him getting a little bit closer to like a median performance is enough. So I'm gonna go with the Texans.
Yeah, I'm going Texans too. I think I can safely say that this is the best defense since the 2015 Broncos defense. And you had Peyton Manning at like 41 years old without a neck, and he was able to win the Super Bowl. And I'm still that on the fence in this game because I don't trust Stroud.
Yeah.
But I think the game script for the Patriots to lose would be that type of game. Like I know it's so long back, and we probably like don't even remember it very well. But the Patriots lost to the Steelers week 3, and they turned it over 4 times, and it was a lot of just like weird shit that happened. I think with the front four, when you can just rush 4 and get pressure, and you have
that's the big thing.
Great talent at all 3 levels. I think that the turnovers are going to manifest themselves in this game, and I think the Texans will be able to turn. I'm more confident in the Texans being able to turn the Patriots over more than like I can just rely on Stroud like pissing himself and dropping the ball. So I would put
Did
more
that 4
confidence in it.
times last week.
Yeah, you really did. I also
I know. That's how confident I am in the Texans defense, though. Yeah, give me the Texans. It's so hard to pick, though.
I also kind of I wouldn't be shocked at all if Nico Collins just plays. Like they're gonna fudge
No.
this concussion
I
protocol.
like kind of expect him to play.
Yeah,
They need him.
I think they're gonna have somebody.
They're
like,
gonna give him a
in.
perk 30, and he's gonna get out there.
They're gonna sneak somebody in that room with him and whoever the fuck's administering that test, and he's gonna pass. But yeah, let's move on. We got our last and another really difficult one to pick. Rams at Bears at Soldier Field. Obviously, Bears coming off that comeback and the Rams holding on against the Panthers. Who do we got here, guys?
I'm going
tough
Bears.
one.
I'm going Bears.
Go ahead, Beck.
Beck's on the Bears. Why?
Yeah, and I know I said I don't trust like the formula for this team at all, but the Rams give me such reserve right now, like and such reason for caution that I think it's just going to be again, it's going to come down to 4th downs and like the back-breaking turnovers. I think both sides are equally like they're not immune to that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think from the outside, you would easily say the Bears just have more variance in terms of turnovers and like game-swinging plays that their offense can produce. But the Rams right now, to me, man, I don't feel like they're operating at their highest peak. And I think, I mean, they're in the same situation that they were against Philly last year, man. They're a road playoff game in very cold conditions. I think there's some magic in Soldier Field that's left that will get it done in this game. I'm going with the Bears, but yeah, another very tough game to pick, and you're going against experience against Magic pretty much.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, what Beck just said is exactly what I'm like deciding on. Like, do I trust the maturity of Stafford over like the magic of what Caleb has been able to do? I'm worried about both of these defenses. This game might be 45-40,
It will. Yeah.
because the first half the Bears literally couldn't stop anything, and they were never even close. Packers receivers were running wide open the entire first half, and now you have to deal with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Like, good luck. But the same can be said for the Rams defense. The Bears don't have as good of weapons as Puka, but they have more quantity. Like, they have like 5 guys that are all capable of moving the ball. Ultimately, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think Stafford finds a way to edge out Caleb. I want to take the Bears, and I'll be rooting for the Bears to win, but the magic has to die at some point, and I don't think they can keep winning this way. And I think last week is going to serve as a wake up call for the Rams to get the job done.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with Ryan there. I'm on the Rams here. Obviously, there's, I mean, a ton of trauma and bias behind that pick for me, but what I saw in that Packers Bears game that I think sort of informed my pick is just that I think this Bears defense is pretty unserious, and I think that against a McVay coach team who, if they do get out to a lead, I don't see them squandering it in that way.
Yeah.
And maybe the game script's completely different. The Bears offense just clicks from the jump, which it definitely might. But yeah, I'm gonna lean on Stafford. I'm gonna lean on McVay,
Yep.
and I think Caleb just has mistakes in him, and like I don't see him
You're
just
not going
like
to get away with them
lighting the world on fire
against the
Yeah,
Rams, in my opinion.
and I
Like,
think
Puka
they're
might legitimately have 250 yards. Like,
yeah
I don't know what they're going to do with Puka.
they're not gonna do anything. It'll be whatever he wants.
Yeah, tough game to pick, but
Yeah.
my only pushback would be I've seen the Rams like blow a game against Seattle and
Totally.
almost blow it last
Yeah.
week against the Panthers.
Yeah.
Right?
This is
And
true.
get-
This
and
is
get
true.
dominated in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
divisional
team
round.
is-
Yeah, I just feel like
McVay's
they're heavily
not
flawed at
close.
this point, and their defense is suspect as fuck.
Their defense
So,
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
both
this
sides.
is a hard one. This is a hard
Yeah.
one.
I hope it's just like 45-42. Like that's what
That'd be
that's what
awesome.
Yeah.
that would heal the world. But yeah, I mean, I also in my pick, I can't stand to see the Bears continue to win games in this fashion. Like, it drives me insane. It just shouldn't be sustainable, but it just has been
Yeah.
for them for some reason. But yeah, those are our divisional round picks. And then last little thing before we sign off here, guys. Obviously, Beck, big time Grizz fan. His boy, who he actually hates, Ja Morant, is on the trade block. Finally,
Yeah.
we kind of figured this was coming with either him or JJJ or both. Now he's working with the Grizz to get a trade. The Heat have been a name that's been increasingly been circulating. Beck, what situation do you think would make sense for Ja? And how do you feel as a Grizzly fan with the potential departure of Ja?
It's really tough to find a situation that makes sense for him. And it's hard to say I'm even a Grizzlies fan anymore. Like, man, I can't tune in. It's just not what I grew up on. It's not what they've been for the like 12 to 13 years that I became a
Not grit
fan.
and grind.
It's literally the
Yeah.
opposite. It's just the softest brand of bad. Like, I can't stand to watch it, and I'm not even gonna be a hater anymore and like bet on it anymore. Like, I've accepted it. Like, I'm not a fan of the Grizzlies. I don't watch them. They aren't part of my mind. I don't think about them.
No.
But yeah, I mean,
Eviscerate.
yeah, it's just sad. I mean, overall, like, it sucks to see this core that should have been like they were the OKC before OKC peaked at a different level than they did. And yeah, it comes down to the front office. The front office sucks. They somehow maximize guys in their rookie year, and then they become worse versions of themselves throughout their career. It just makes that no sense. It's like 5 examples of that in the last 3 years. Gross just gross malpractice from the Grizzlies, and you have bigger problems than Ja Morant at the end of the day too, man. Like, Jaren Jackson,
I was gonna say, I'm surprised he wasn't the first guy out.
he should be, because without surrounding talent on the defensive end, he's a useless defender. He's like a bad defender without the perfect, formula on defense. And his offense sucks, and the black hole can't pass. Like he's part of the problem there too. And then losing guys like Bane and Brooks, like that, this team was doomed. And I mean, Ja has regressed a significant amount, but I still would have more faith in him becoming like a factor down the line than Jaren. I really would.
Yeah.
So in terms of like situations that I think Ja would make sense in, like it doesn't make any sense, but where I could see the Bucks just being super desperate and weird. Like that's something I could see.
To keep
Um,
Giannis.
yeah. And then maybe a situation that would make sense and be cool is Portland. Like they give up Scoot or something and you put him like around defensive structure. That's one spot that sort of makes sense to me that like isn't just putrid and like a Sacramento destination. What are you guys' thoughts?
Ryan?
It's tough, man. I like go both ways with Ja because at the same point, I feel like people underrate how good he was in like year 2 and 3. Like he peaked at like 28 points, seven
Yeah.
assists, and 5 boards a game. Like he was like looking like a new version of Russell Westbrook. But now at this current point, I wouldn't want him on my team for free. The He's just a complete like head case. Like he wanted to be Ja Wick. Like that's
Yeah.
by him. And there's I'm sure you could get him cheap like now, obviously compared to his peak, but like
You could get him cheaper for Trey Young right now. You can get him for like
yeah, like do you
You
but do you
think?
want that
yes.
headache?
Corey
It'd be
Kispert?
similar. It'd be similar. But like do you want that headache on your team? Like I get it if you're like the Blazers, like why the fuck not? Like take
Yeah.
the shot. But like Ja is going to, if he does get traded, he's getting traded into irrelevance. Like
Yeah, man,
the coop- it's
it's
over.
crazy. We're sitting here in 2026, and I'm saying the reason that the trade, like probably like the Blazers wouldn't do it is because they don't want to take the ball out of Denny Avdia's hands. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, totally. Like I wouldn't if I was
Yeah,
them.
I
Yeah.
kind of agree, but if you're trying to find a spot that makes sense, it's sort of
Yeah,
like you could sort of see it. Yeah, I think the way that a team would make a trade for Ja, you have to make an agreement with him. Like you have to put your body on the line and play like you have 3 more years in the league. Like put your body
yeah,
on the line like you did in your first 4 years, and we'll pay you like an 8-year contract worth. Like it's the only way you're gonna get the best version of Ja back. It's reckless abandon. That's when he was at his best. And if he refuses to do that, you're not gonna get the best version of him on the basketball court because his jump shot hasn't developed. And like Ryan said, he's a head case. So
Yeah. I think the Heat was the interesting one just because I think like I don't know. I think Spoelstra could be good for him. Just as
they're
like
the
a
culture that could set him
yeah,
straight.
I think well, but then you have to think about like he's also being
But then he's
Miami.
in
yeah,
Miami.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That's like the devil in the detail there. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I do think Miami basketball wise is an interesting spot because they're ahead of schedule on their sort of mini rebuild. Norm Powell came in and just like is special. Like he just like might be an all-star this year. Bam's having a little bit of a resurgence this season. Davion Mitchell's been huge for them. So that's one team where I think Ja plugs in and maybe is just like maybe not even additive, but just like is a piece on that team that like when they're in the playoffs, it's just like we can roll out Ja Morant now instead
Yeah,
of like this kind of thin team with like Nikola Jovic playing big minutes and like Pell Larson playing 25 minutes. Like now you roll out Ja Morant in like a matchup and like maybe that gives you a look you didn't have. So
yeah.
that's the one team that I think is like genuinely interesting in terms of like the NBA landscape. Like that's the one move that I think could like have a playoff implication small
yeah.
in like a
Yeah.
small way.
I mean, two other ones real quick. So, I mean, the Phoenix Suns are sixth in the Western Conference right now. They're 24 and 15, and they haven't had Jalen Green for
Nuts.
like all but like 5 quarters.
That's why they've
And,
been
and they're openly
Yeah, I
about to
was gonna
have him
say
back in
that's
the
why
equation.
they've been better.
Yeah, and you could definitely argue that. I think you would have a piece there to get a deal done there, and you have Ja around the guy who's shown to have
Dylan
success with
Brooks.
Brooks. Yeah, like
You would be a Suns fan so
yeah.
fast.
Wow.
I'm just saying,
Beck
like
would be a Suns fan
there's proof in
so
the pudding that
fast.
that actually works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could actually get your mind around that, and then maybe with how like weird the Rockets situation at point guard is right now, do you trust Reed in the playoffs? Do you think Fred's going to be back? Maybe you make a swing there because they're on the down
Ooh.
tilt right now, and you put him with Udoka. Maybe that's something. If the Rockets continue
Ooh.
to like down slope and have bad vibes, maybe that's a
I just feel like that
they
could
kinda
be
move.
throwing some gasoline on a fire.
It
But
totally could
Ime
be.
and
If you
Ja.
add Ja, like KD too, like
Yeah, it's tough to make
But it's
any
interesting.
destination make sense. So,
totally.
I don't hate the Ja and Houston fit. Yeah, it's also just funny that you can like map the Grizzlies' downfall by Dylan
and
Brooks
again, you
leaving.
have proven success with them. Steven Adams was like
Yeah,
probably the main reason for his success,
Yeah.
like the screens
they're a
he set.
perfect
good
fit.
point.
Yeah.
I,
And they have the two big
yeah.
lineup. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Also, the T-Wolves was a name thrown around.
that would be terrible for
I
everybody.
think
They
the
need shooting
spacing,
so
the
bad,
spacing
yeah.
would be
Yeah.
so bad if they did that.
It's another thing with the Rockets. They kind of need more shooting, not less.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Which like Reed was supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. And I was wrong about him. I thought he was gonna be like a stud.
Yeah, I did think like the fourth pick was a little rich for my blood, but yeah, I mean how bad he's been has just
I
been.
mean, the every pick in that draft was rich for
Yeah,
everybody.
that was gonna be
That's
my
true,
pushback.
yeah.
Like
It's like
there
what
was
Steph
really,
Castle
Yeah,
should have gone one
yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it'll be interesting to see where the Ja sweepstakes shake out and what Beck's old Grizz, ex-Grizz, I should say, get
Yeah.
back. But folks,
Go
thanks for
Suns.
hanging there in with us for 2.5 hours here. Ryan, thanks for
Yes,
fucking
sir.
joining
Yes,
us, brother.
thank you for joining us. Great episode,
Absolutely.
boys. Great
an
episode.
Hopefully get
honor.
Ryan back on some future pods.
Yes, sir. Before I
Yes,
go,
sir.
real quick, Super Bowl prediction: Bills over the Rams. Josh Allen's your MVP.
I love that. Yeah. Let's
I'm going. Yeah, I have no idea yet.
We
Yeah.
had Beck and I
Roommates
both.
recent.
Beck and I
you
both
guys-
had
you guys have
Jags versus
tied.
Eagles. So
Yeah. Jags Eagles. Jags Eagles still my Super Bowl pick.
yeah. Josh Allen getting a Super Bowl would be special.
Yeah, that's all I'll
Um,
be rooting for.
But thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back after the divisional round. See you, folks.